Chapter 685. To Pool City in the dark room, the black dragon sat cross-legged on the bed, its body emitting a faint gray fluorescence. Without the appearance of the dragon's vein, his ninth-stage celestial king's strength had stagnated a long time ago. Even so, he did not give up on his initial goal. As long as he had the time, he would circulate a few times to consolidate his strength. After completing another minor cycle, he exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He slowly walked down from the bed and opened the door. Li Min, he was waiting outside the door. What happened? My lord, Tennyson is injured. He's currently in the conference hall. Senior Chiu Hai is currently treating him. Li Min, he replied with a calm expression. Black Dragon nodded indifferently. Let's go and take a look. The meeting hall was brightly lit, and several demon lords of the Devil Realm stood on both sides of the hall with their hands clasped behind their backs. In the middle of it all, the bald demon lord lay on the ground with a dispirited expression. There were several frightening wounds on his body. Chiu Hai continued to pour spiritual energy into the bald demon sovereign's body as he watched the bald demon sovereign's weak aura. If it wasn't for Chiu Hai's spiritual energy, he might have already died. Lord Black Dragon. When the demon supremacies in the meeting hall saw Black Dragon, they all bowed to him. He's actually injured so badly. Black Dragon walked in front of the bald demon sovereign, causing Chiu Hai to subconsciously move his hand away. Without the infusion of spiritual power, the bald demon venerable looked like a patient in a hospital who had lost his oxygen tank. His face was full of pain. I can't believe someone broke his energy sea. After examining the bald demon sovereign for a while, the Black Dragon shook his head and sighed. Even if you're cured, you'll still be a cripple. Tennyson, since we've worked together for so many years, I'll grant you a quick death. Tennyson, who was lying on the ground, seemed to understand the Black Dragon's thoughts. His strong desire to live made him shake his head violently, but the Black Dragon did not hesitate. Bang! A palm imprinted on his forehead. The bald demon sovereign died instantly, and all the other demon sovereigns in the conference hall raised their eyebrows, but none of them dared to show any dissatisfaction or indignation. Killing an old friend with my own hands, what a heartache. Although he said that, there was no reluctance on his face. The corpse of the bald demon sovereign was left in the middle of the meeting hall, and no one took care of it. Black Dragon walked over to a chair and sat down. He glanced at the higher-ups of the demon realm in the room. Tennyson probably went to Pool City. Yes, a man with a feminine expression walked out from the group of demon sovereigns. He was also the leader of this group of demon sovereigns. An expert with the strength of an immortal king has appeared in Shaoqi City. Our Devil World soldiers have lost over 1,000 people, and nearly 10,000 are injured. Black Dragon raised his eyebrows and narrowed his eyes at the effeminate man in front of him. Are you sure he's an immortal king? This subordinate. The feminine-looking man's confidence faltered under Black Dragon's questioning. Tennyson is a complete stage sky immortal. To be able to destroy his Chi Si without him being able to fight back, he definitely has the strength of an immortal king. How could I not know that another immortal king has been born in the three realms? Wasn't the ley line hidden by the Yellow Emperor? Logically speaking, sky immortals and immortal kings can't break through. Did the Yellow Emperor tell them the location of the ley line? Black Dragon's expression darkened. Chiu Hai glanced at him. We don't even know if the ley line has appeared or not. What's important right now is that another immortal king has appeared in the immortal region, and even caused our demon sovereigns to die in battle. We need you, the leader, to deal with this. A faint smile appeared on Black Dragon's face. He wanted nothing more than to tear Chiu Hai into a million pieces. He was the leader of the demon realm of the lower three realms. But ever since this old man appeared, he had challenged his authority more than once. If it wasn't for the fact that this old man was still somewhat useful, Black Dragon unclenched his fist, and the gloominess on his face disappeared. He nodded towards everyone with a warm smile. Senior Chiu Hai is right. Senior Chiu Hai is right. We can't just let Tennyson die like this. Fellow demon sovereigns, what do you think we should do? Tennyson was like a comrade to us. We must take revenge. That's right. So what if he's an immortal king? As long as our demon realm army crushes over, who cares if he's an immortal king or a dog king? He'll all die. Revenge. That's right, revenge. The demon sovereigns in the conference hall all spoke at once. The only ones who didn't speak were the two female demon sovereigns. Huakue, I just need to follow Lord Black Dragon's orders. Huakue twisted her slender waist with a seductive smile. Even the demon sovereigns who had worked with her for many years couldn't help but feel a fire ignite in their hearts when they saw her alluring appearance. I'm not that close to Tennyson, but if Lord Black Dragon needs me to go, I can go. Li Min-Yi's expression was still as calm as ever. Li Min-Yi's expression was still as calm as ever. But the other demon sovereigns in the meeting hall were enraged. Li Min-Yi, what is it? Li Min-Yi looked at them indifferently. Do you have a problem with that? A faint pressure was released from her body, and the moment this pressure was released, the surrounding people all shut their mouths and remained silent. Half a step into the immortal king realm. This was Li Min-Yi's strength, and this was even without the ley line, yet she still managed to reach this stage. With this kind of talent, if she had the ley line, she might have become an immortal king long ago. Black Dragon should be thankful that the ley line didn't exist. He had been famous for a long time, and had the strength of a demon king before the ley line disappeared. However, the demon realm produced quite a few good seedlings after that. If the ley line existed, he might have to hand over the strongest faction in the demon realm to someone else. If he encountered some ambitious ones, he might even have to give up his position. Oni, you don't have to go if you don't want to, Black Dragon smiled. Black Dragon said with a smile, we do need someone to guard our base, but we have to avenge Tennyson. Just like that, Huakue and Min-Yi will guard Maple City. The other demon sovereigns will return to their respective cities. Senior Chiu-Hai and I will make a trip to Pool City. With that, Black Dragon looked at Chiu-Hai with a probing gaze. Senior Chiu-Hai, since you need me, I will naturally not decline. Chiu-Hai replied generously. Chiu-Hai replied generously. Black Dragon smiled gratefully, but he felt even more resentful towards Chiu-Hai. Black Dragon knew very well what kind of person Chiu-Hai was. Chiu-Hai was purposely acting like he knew the ways of the world. Clearly, he was doing it for his subordinates. Life in the demon realm above isn't going your way, so you want to come down here and enjoy yourself. My position isn't that easy to take away. Black Dragon continuously cursed in his heart, but he still maintained that warm smile on his face. After giving his orders, Black Dragon bowed towards Chiu-Hai and gestured for him to leave. Chapter 686. Personal feelings and righteousness in the courtyard of the City Lord's Manor in Pool City. The atmosphere in the courtyard turned strangely heavy and oppressive after Chiu Yuan finished speaking. Yi Zichen sighed. It wasn't that he couldn't understand Chiu Yuan's thoughts. If they were discussing it from the perspective of a friend, then he didn't want Chiu Yuan to get involved. But more importantly, he wasn't trying to comfort Chiu Yuan as a friend. Yi Zichen scratched his head, then subconsciously took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. Green smoke floated into the sky along with the dim moonlight. Chiu Yuan also clenched his fist as he sat on the gravel in the courtyard. Neither of them spoke, and only the faint sighs of the two could be heard. Not worth it. Indeed not worth it. Hearing that, Chiu Yuan couldn't help but explain. Bossy, I'm not targeting you, I just understood. Yi Zichen raised his hand to stop Chiu Yuan, then put down the cigarette in his hand and stood like a statue in the not-so-quiet night. I won't force you. Since you think it's not worth it, then it's not worth it. That was what Yi Zichen said after thinking about it for a long time. Actually, there were countless righteous words that he could say in his mind. Worth or not wasn't that one-sided. What's more, there were some things that shouldn't be used to determine whether you should do it or not. Instead, you had to do it at a time like this. There was no time to consider the pros and cons. As for the outcome, who cares if it's worth it or not? It was just like how Chiu Yuan's older brother's death wasn't worth it to Chiu Yuan. What he didn't know was that it was worth it to Chiu Yuan's older brother. Quelling the war and protecting his beloved little brother and family, He had no regrets, even if he died. That was worth it. At the end of the day, worth or not was based on the person's thoughts. If it was very important to him, then even if it wasn't worth it, it was still worth it to him. Conversely, it was the same. Now that Xiao Yuan already felt that participating in the demon-slaying war wasn't worth it. So what could he say? If it was worth it, then it was worth it. If it wasn't, then it wasn't. The cigarette in Yi Zichen's hand fell to the ground. Yi Zichen put it out with his foot, then walked into the city lord's manor. Xiao Yuan stood there in a daze. His lips moved, but he didn't say a single word. Fail. The white-robed man smiled the moment Yi Zichen entered the room. Yi Zichen nodded non-committally, then sat down on a chair with an indifferent expression. City Lord Xiao's expression froze when he heard their conversation. Sir, didn't you say that my son would definitely... Is there really a father like you? Before City Lord Xiao finished, Yi Zichen suddenly got angry. Xiao Yuan didn't want to participate. So why did you force him to participate? As a father, I shouldn't protect my son. He's your only son. What if he dies in battle? My Qiu family has protected the celestial realm for generations, regardless of life or death. Even if our family is destroyed, we will still not hesitate. City Lord Xiao's expression was filled with righteousness, but in Yi Zichen's eyes, it was indescribably laughable. Humans are selfish, especially in this chaotic world. Who was he trying to impress by putting on such a righteous expression? What a good no matter what. Then don't force Qiao Yuan to fight. Why don't you take the lead? Why not? City Lord Qiao's expression did not change at all. Seeing that, Yi Zichen's expression froze for a moment. Then he smiled wryly. Indeed, a fool like City Lord Qiao was needed at a time like this. Otherwise, if everyone was in danger and didn't want to stand out, then how was the three realms supposed to be protected? Yi Zichen didn't retort. The white-robed man also smiled, then apologized to City Lord Xiao. Yi Zichen might have gone overboard. I hope City Lord Xiao doesn't mind. The white-robed man smiled and apologized to City Lord Xiao. How could I? It's true that idiots like me are hard to find in this chaotic world. City Lord Xiao laughed in self-mockery. But the one I care about is Qiao Yuan. To be honest, I really don't want him to participate in this selfishly. It's just like how his older brother shouldered everything in order to keep him away from the chaos of war. After what happened to Boss, I really don't want to see him die before me. If it wasn't for the current crisis, I really wanted him to continue being a spoiled brat. But right now, I need his strength. City Lord Xiao's expression was conflicted. It was clear that he was conflicted. In the current situation, he had to give up on either his personal feelings or the greater good. After countless conflicts, he chose to give up on his personal feelings. Although his heart hurt, he remained resolute. Let him think about it. The white-robed man smiled, then signaled City Lord Qiao to calm down, then stood up from his chair. Qiao Yuan, who had been eavesdropping outside, hurriedly dodged. The white-robed man also looked at the sky outside with a smile. Guess they're here. Black Dragon and Qiao Hai stood side by side in the sky above Pool City. Senior Qiao Hai, how is it? Black Dragon looked over. Qiao Hai squinted his eyes and frowned. It's a very strong pressure. It seems like it's normal for your subordinate to be so heavily injured. There are a total of 4 people in the city. The complete stage Sky Immortal and mid-stage Sky Immortals are nothing to worry about. What I'm more concerned about are the 2 presences. Black Dragon frowned. He had been famous for a long time. No ordinary person was able to make him feel pressured. One of the other 2 should be the Immortal King who just ascended. Qiao Hai smiled. Just ascended? Black Dragon's eyes trembled. How can a newly ascended Immortal King feel such pressure? This feeling is at least that of a late-stage Immortal King, a rank 7 Immortal King. Enlightenment, Qiao Hai smiled. Didn't Mount Supreme appear in the Immortal region a while ago? That's the inheritance of Duan Gu from the God Realm. Duan Gu wasn't weak back then, and he was rather famous in the God, Yao, and Demon realms. This young man should have received his inheritance. He's quite lucky. Duan Gu has been dead for thousands of years, and countless people from the God Realm and Yao Realm have wanted to obtain his inheritance. I didn't expect it to fall into this young man's hands. I see. Then, Black Dragon nodded in understanding, then asked with a frown. As for the other pressure, you should have seen him before. Chiu Hai smiled. I've seen him before? Black Dragon was confused. When had he ever met such an expert? That deep pressure was suffocating him. Just as he was trying to recall when he had seen such an expert, three figures suddenly flew out of Pool City. The one at the front was a white-robed man. His clothes were whiter than snow, and he had a warm smile on his face. Chapter 687. Chiu Hai, that faint greeting caused Black Dragon's heart to tremble. He hadn't even sensed that someone was coming towards them. He could even sense Chiu Hai clearly. Just who was this person? He could ignore his senses and give off such a strong sense of pressure. Black Dragon raised his eyebrows and glanced forward. His pupils suddenly froze. Bait. This person must have planned this. I'm truly sorry for not going out to welcome you. Why have you come upon City? Why don't we talk in the front hall? The white-robed man gestured. Chiu Hai couldn't help but smile. I didn't think that you still haven't returned to the higher realms. Are those guys from the god realm challenging the laws? What are you saying? You haven't returned yet, so why should I? The white-robed man's eyes were accompanied by a gentle smile. His expression was filled with disdain towards him. Chiu Hai's expression changed when he saw the white-robed man's gaze. You coward, yet you dare to act like this in front of me? Looks like I need to remind you of what happened back then. The white-robed man sneered. That's right. If you two fight, I could just sit back and reap the benefits. It just so happens that the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation is here as well. That's killing two birds with one stone. Black Dragon, who had remained silent at the side, snickered inwardly. The white-robed man shrugged. I just wanted the injured to receive treatment as soon as possible. Coward, aren't you being a little too arrogant? To be honest, I really don't want to fight right now. But looks like there's no other way. A cool breeze blew past, causing the sleeves of the person in the sky to flutter. The white-robed man smiled faintly and used Huang Feihong's classic move. Spiritual energy slowly leaked out. In the blink of an eye, the weak spiritual energy surged towards Black Dragon and Chiu Hai like a raging river. Suffocation. It was a suffocating smell. The instant this pressure appeared, Black Dragon's eyes were filled with indescribable shock. The pressure was more than 10 times stronger than when he first entered the city. Even Chiu Hai's eyelids twitched. Even as a heavenly supreme, he felt a heart-palpitating pressure and danger. He had only felt such a feeling from the demon ancestor. Yi Zichen, be careful later. This old man's strength isn't weak. If you fight with him, I might not be able to protect you. The white-robed man's warning sounded out in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness. Yi Zichen nodded solemnly, then slowly backed away. They were finally going to meet. Chiu Hai squinted his eyes and laughed coldly. Pressure didn't mean everything. He would only know how strong Chiu Hai really was after they fought. The rules of the lower three realms restricted one's strength to that of a first-stage Sky Supreme. He didn't believe that he, who was also a Sky Supreme, would be at a disadvantage. Humph! Coward! Boom! With that, Chiu Hai unleashed a powerful burst of spiritual energy. A blinding purple light shone around him, and a gigantic figure of a demon holding two hammers stared at the white-robed man with purple aura in its eyes. At the same time, the white-robed man stopped holding back. An intense blue light shone around him, and a gigantic figure of a sea god holding a trident stared at the demon with blue aura in its eyes. Even a lion uses its full strength to fight a rabbit. There was no need for him to be careless and fail miserably. I'm telling you in advance, I don't have any good feelings towards the demon race. I hope you can forgive me if I go too far and kill you. The sea god behind Chiu Hai raised his trident high up, and the surrounding water spiritual energy continuously gathered towards it. The demon behind Chiu Hai did the same. It crossed its hammers, and streaks of runes appeared on its hammers. Humph! The pressure that the white-robed man gave Chiu Hai grew stronger and stronger, and it was also wearing down his fighting spirit. Unable to endure it any longer, Chiu Hai chose to attack. What a pity! You lost. Unbeknownst to him, A man dressed like the Turtle Prime Minister shook his head and sighed in a corner outside Pool City. This demon geezer's heavenly god Dharma body is actually that of an ancient demon. He's quite a good seedling. Won't the demons be angry if he dies here? Then he shrugged and muttered, "What does that have to do with me? It's best if the demons all die. But this person should be the one that His Majesty was talking about. He's an ancient heavenly god Dharma body, and he's not even a sky supreme. As for this person, he should be the one His Majesty was talking about. He's the ancient deity, Sikh god Dharma body, and his strength isn't even on the level of a heavenly supreme. Oh my God, His Majesty is making things difficult for me." At the same time, Jiachio Hai's image swung its hammer at the white-robed man. However, it was just as the turtle minister had said. At the same time, the white-robed man suddenly opened his eyes. The white-robed man suddenly opened his eyes, and the sea god behind him also straightened his finger, accompanied by the power of 10,000 caddies. It was instantly pierced through. Boom! Chiohai's demon figure instantly collapsed. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and knelt in the air with a dispirited expression. He stared in shock at the increasingly dazzling sea god. How is this possible? His Dharma body was that of an ancient demon. It was a rare existence, even in the demon realm. He had obtained it by chance from Black Dragon in the lower realm. He thought that it would be the turning point of his life, but why? He lost. His ancient giant devil had actually lost to this guy with a crown on his head, who was stepping on the waves and who had scales on his arms. Impossible! Chiohai roared furiously with bloodshot eyes. He struggled to stand up and tried to summon his Dharma body again. Don't waste your energy. The sea god is an ancient god. Your Dharma body has been destroyed. The white-robed man slowly walked towards Chiohai. The white-robed man slowly walked towards Chiohai. At the same time, the avatar behind him gradually dissipated, but his robes gradually turned blue. A crown appeared on his head, and a trident appeared in his hand. How did you become one with the world? Do you understand now? The white-robed man smirked and raised his trident. Yes, it's just as you thought. Do you feel that your death is not unjust? No, I can't die. My grand future. Chiohai frantically tried to escape. The white-robed man let out a soft sigh, and the halberd in his hand pierced through Chiohai's back like a javelin. I told you, I don't have a good impression of demons. He died. He fell to the ground. The white-robed man's one with the world dissipated, and he glanced down at Pool City. He found me. Prime Minister Turtle swallowed a mouthful of saliva and ran away. I definitely can't complete this mission now. His Majesty didn't give me a time limit. The white-robed man smirked, then looked towards Black Dragon, who was about to escape. Chapter 688. The game begins. A cool breeze blew past. It brought a hint of coolness to the rather hot night, but Black Dragon felt as if he had fallen into an icy cavern. The white-robed man's kind invitation was not that kind. Black Dragon had wanted to play the role of the fisherman and capture Yizichin during the chaos when Chiohai and the white-robed man fought. Then he would capture both of them in one fell swoop, while the white-robed man and Chiohai were locked in a fight. It was a great dream, but reality, this old guy, who had been so arrogant ever since he came to the demon realm, actually died without even being able to take a single attack from his opponent. And he even boasted that no one in the lower three realms was his match. He could only blame himself for trusting Chiohai's strength too much. Even with Black Dragon's personality, he still wanted to curse. Damn it! What? Are you not going to give me face? A murmur sounded out once again. To be honest, Black Dragon truly did not want to give him face. But the situation, heaving a sigh of relief, Black Dragon turned around with a smile and raised his eyebrows. How is that possible? No matter what, I can't refuse your invitation. Then, please. The white-robed man stepped aside. Black Dragon, who was not far away, clenched his fist, then relaxed it, before slowly walking past the white-robed man nervously. Within the guest hall of the City Lord's Manor in Pool City, the hall was terrifyingly silent in the silent night. The fragrance of tea wafted out from the hall. The white-robed man sat on a chair opposite Black Dragon and took a sip of his tea. Lord Black Dragon, why aren't you moving? I'm not really interested in this, Black Dragon smiled. Black Dragon smiled faintly, but his nerves were still tense. He had no choice but to be. In a situation like this, the white-robed man sat opposite him, while the city lord of Pool City sat beside him. As for Yi Zichen, who was the weakest and the one he wanted to use as a breakthrough point, he was protected by the white-robed man's spiritual energy. Black Dragon's current situation was not very good. Is that so? But from what I know, Lord Black Dragon likes this tea a lot. Don't worry, I won't do anything in the tea, the white-robed man smiled. The white-robed person pursed her lips and smiled gently. Black Dragon's expression became slightly awkward. He raised his teacup and pretended to take a sip before placing it back on the table. What would you like to talk to me about? You should know this better than me, right? The white-robed man pushed the question back to Black Dragon. Black Dragon licked his lips and shook his head. If you want to use me to threaten my subordinates, then you are gravely mistaken. Oh, a person of your level must be clear about the nature of the demon race. Our demon world has never cared about friendship. I was able to become the lord of the demon realm purely by relying on my strength to intimidate them. For so many years, my exploitation of them has made them resentful. They can't wait for me to die so that they can support a new master. So you're saying that catching you is useless? The white-robed man's expression seemed to change. Seeing this opportunity, Black Dragon hurriedly spoke. You could say that, but it's not useless. Since you've caught me, my life is in your hands. I want to discuss some conditions in exchange for my life. What conditions? Black Dragon let out a long sigh and tried to think of a way to convince the white-robed man. Hurry up, I don't have that much time to waste on you. Suddenly, the white-robed man's tone turned cold. The suffocating pressure once again filled the entire hall. Actually, the outcome you want to see is nothing more than the three realms remaining the three realms. I can promise you that when I return, I will immediately bring all the soldiers of the demon realm back to the dimensional space. I will also promise that I will not touch a single blade of grass or tree in the three realms for 1,000 years. 1,000 years. 10,000 years. Black Dragon immediately changed the deadline. Seeing that the white-robed man still did not look satisfied, he spoke again. I swear that I will never attack the three realms again, ever. If you don't believe me, you can immediately swear on your inner demons and let the rules prove it. Black Dragon looked at the white-robed man expectantly, but found that the white-robed man still did not look satisfied. What do you want me to do? The rise of the demon realm, the plundering of the three realms. In this life-threatening situation, nothing was more important than staying alive. He had already thought it through. Worst comes to worst, he would just hole up in the dimensional space for a few more days. The Yellow Emperor's reincarnation would eventually break through to the supreme level. When that time came, he would directly ascend to the demon realm and not care about these things. And I thought you would be an ambitious person, the white-robed man sneered. A faint sneer came from the white-robed man's mouth. He slowly rose from his chair and stretched lazily in front of the Black Dragon. I'm actually quite satisfied with what you said just now, especially when you said that you would swear on your inner demons. To be honest, I'm very satisfied. Then I'll immediately, but I refuse, the white-robed man interrupted Black Dragon mercilessly. The white-robed man mercilessly cut off Black Dragon's words and chuckled. Didn't I tell you, when I was fighting Shio Hai? I don't have a good impression of people from the demon realm. I'm actually not a demon. I'm a dragon. Yes, including the dragon race. The white-robed man's expression instantly darkened. He rubbed the corner of his clothes. I only have a good impression of a few people in the dragon race. I don't have a good impression of the others either. As for you, you're not one of them. All right, I made myself very clear. I can only apologize to you. I really didn't think that such a big game of chess would be resolved so easily. Buzz's white robe turned faint blue, and a faint golden trident appeared in his hand. Everyone who saw what happened just now knew that this was how he dealt with Shio Hai, a Sky Supreme, in a single move. Logically speaking, Black Dragon should have already felt fear. For the sake of his own life, He might even kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. However, everyone in the room noticed that he was smiling. Yes, that's right. He really is smiling. Looks like I underestimated you just now. You do have some guts. Since you're smiling, I'll give you a quick death. The white-robed man raised his trident high. Black Dragon's lips curled up as he looked at him fearlessly. Are you sure you really want to kill me? If you kill me, it seems like everything you've planned will go to waste. Recognize it. Black Dragon slowly opened his hand, revealing a jade slip that was used for communication. Looks like I really underestimated you. The white-robed man's tone turned cold. The white-robed man's tone turned cold. Black Dragon smiled and shrugged. The fear he felt just now completely gone. He stood up from his chair and pushed the white-robed man's trident away. Chapter 689. Chapter 689. Young Master Yao Great Emperor Yonghe sat on his bed and stared at the jade slip flashing with red light on top of the cabinet. The jade slip was given to him by Black Dragon to communicate with him. Even though the two of them usually wouldn't have any interactions, if he remembered correctly, red meant that the time had come. Attack! It's earlier than I expected. A cunning smile appeared on Great Emperor Yonghe's face in the dark room. He grabbed his coat that had already been taken off and put it on, then left the room with the jade slip in his hand. The night was extremely silent. Unbeknownst to him, the white-robed man's dimensional space was surging in the silent night, stirring up the night. I didn't expect the immortal region to raise so many ungrateful people. A group of experts gathered in front of a cliff that was supposed to be deserted. If anyone were to see this, they would be able to notice that something was off here, because everyone present here was a reputable existence within and outside the three realms. The one who spoke just now was the Secmaster of the Fire Cloud Gate. He rarely came out of seclusion due to the turmoil in the three realms. His fiery red hair indicated that he had already cultivated his fire elemental internal cultivation technique to the extreme. Old Huafeng, the 5 emperors have treated you well. Didn't you come as well? The one who spoke was the sect master of the Falling Jade Pavilion. The Falling Jade Pavilion had always been at odds with the Fire Cloud Gate, so it was rather unfortunate that the two of them were able to meet here. I didn't expect to see you here, you old thing. The Fire Cloud Gate master glanced at him with a dark expression, then snorted. You better give me some face. Otherwise, I don't mind getting rid of you here. Anyone can brag. You want to get rid of me? You could try. The two old men didn't budge an inch. One could vaguely feel the sparks in their eyes. What's the matter with the two of you? Since we're here, we're all in the same boat. It's not good to start fighting among ourselves before we've dealt with the external threat. Right at this moment, an elegant young master holding a folding fan appeared between the two of them and separated them. The surrounding people were all hesitant when they saw him. They couldn't figure out who he was. After a long while, someone exclaimed under everyone's gaze. Young Master Yao. It's actually Young Master Yao. The head of the Mu clan in the outer regions of the Immortal Region had 2 sons. One of them, Mu Qingtian, was born to his current wife. However, he had a sickly personality and was a famous sickly person in the outer regions. But before this, the Mu family head had a wife. His wife was from the Shao family in the outer regions of the Immortal Domain. Their family couldn't be considered a prominent family, but they couldn't be considered ordinary either. Before Patriarch Mu inherited the position of Patriarch, his wife had always been by his side. However, during the competition for the position of Patriarch, Patriarch Mu's situation was not very good. For the sake of being elected, he chose to give up on his wife back then, choosing to marry the young miss of the Immortal Domain's famous Tang family. Young Master Yao naturally followed his mother back to the clan. At the same time, he changed his surname to Shao, and the Shao clan moved to Hundred Flower City. When this matter came out, many people outside the Immortal Region felt that it was a pity. Firstly, it was a pity that only Miss Shao could be called a virtuous wife, while Miss Tang was too domineering. The master of the Mu family would not have an easy time in the future. The second one was Xiao Yao. Back then, Xiao Yao could tell that this child was extraordinary from a young age. His talent was astonishing, something rarely seen even in 10,000 years. Just like how the Mu family head could endure for 10 years, when Xiao Yao came of age. The Mu family would still be his, and in Xiao Yao's hands, it would shine even more brilliantly. If there was anyone to blame, he could only blame himself for not enduring. Now that a young genius had appeared, how could these people not be shocked? So there are still people who recognize me. What a gratifying piece of news. Xiao Yao's lips curled into a faint smile. Then he looked at the fierce-looking man in heavy armor, holding a long sword, and couldn't help but snicker. Actually, everyone here has their own reasons, but only this one. The sword-wielding man suddenly looked up, his eyes as sharp as swords, at Xiao Yao. General Zhao actually showed up? That's a little strange, isn't it? City Lord Lin treats you extremely well. So well that even I'm a little jealous. Xiao Yao's expression instantly became sinister. He narrowed his eyes, his gaze like a venomous snake's, filled with unbearable pain. Lin Shihe treats you so well, yet you want to betray her. That has nothing to do with you. Zhao Zizhao glanced at him coolly. Don't pretend to be benevolent. Aren't you from Hundred Flower City? City Lord Lin treats your Xiao family just as well, yet you're still here? I came here because a friend asked me to. He offered me a bargaining chip that I couldn't help but be tempted. Then what are you blabbering on about? Zhao Zizhao replied indifferently. Xiao Yao glanced at him, shrugged, and smiled. Forget it. I don't want to waste too much time talking to a martial artist like you. I don't want to waste too much time talking to a sissy like you either. Also, let me remind you that Lin Shihe will never fall for a sissy like you. If you have the guts, say that again. Xiao Yao raised a slender finger in anger. Zhao Zizhao's words had hit him where it hurt. Xiao Yao was indeed very handsome and elegant, but he was also a little sissy. So what if I say it 10,000 times? Sissy, you're courting death. Xiao Yao's eyes instantly turned bloodshot. He drew a soft sword from his waist and pointed it at Zhao Zizhao. I'll take care of you on Shihe's behalf. I'm just afraid you don't have the ability. Zhao Zizhao also grasped his longsword. He stood proudly in front of the cliff like an unsheathed blade, his entire body filled with a murderous aura. Everyone was a little confused, especially Blazing Hua and the Secmaster of the Falling Jade Pavilion. Master Yao had just pulled the two of them apart. Why was he fighting now? However, no one dared to pull the two of them away. Zhao Zizhao was a famous general, while Xiao Yao was a genius who'd made a name for himself a long time ago. If the two of them wanted to fight, the surrounding people would have to weigh their own abilities even if they wanted to pull them away. It seems like the atmosphere here isn't very harmonious. Fortunately, Great Emperor Yonghe appeared between the two of them and separated them just as the two were about to fight. When the people around him saw him, they all bowed to pay their respects. Great Emperor. Yonghe faintly nodded his head as he softly chuckled. We're all here for the greater good. I don't care what personal grudges you had before, but let it go now that you're here. Once the future is decided, you can fight however you want. I definitely won't interfere. Sweeping his gaze across the crowd, the Blazing Hua Sect Master and the Falling Jade Pavilion Sect Master lowered their heads. Xiao Yao and Zhao Zizhao also snorted coldly at each other. They put away their weapons and stood to the side. Seeing this, Great Emperor Yonghe nodded his head in satisfaction. Then he stretched his body lazily and chuckled. Ha, you're right. Chapter 690. Qiuhai is alive again. Pool City Governor's Mansion. When he opened the transmission jade slip, Black Dragon's face was filled with disdain. He looked at the people in the front hall with a faint smile on his face. If I'm not mistaken, your side should have already been conquered by my people. Aren't you relaxing too early? I can still take your life in an instant. When the time comes, I'll go to the dimensional space and get rid of the spy you left on my side. The white-robed man narrowed his eyes and tightened his grip on the halberd. That's true, but do you know who I left at your place? Yonghe, as expected, I can't hide it from you. The Black Dragon did not reveal any shock or panic when the white-robed man revealed the mole he had left behind. He nodded lightly, and the corners of his mouth curled up. You're right. Yonghe is indeed my spy. You can also return to the dimensional space after killing me. Even if they have already conquered your side, the dimensional space was created by you, so you are naturally invincible there. Since you know, why do you have to go through so much trouble? Not only did you expose your informant, you even lost your life. The white-robed man asked this because he really didn't understand. He didn't understand why the black dragon would go through so much trouble to come up with this series of tricks, and yet still be able to talk to him without fear. Something was very wrong. I didn't even want to attack your side. I just wanted to shake the morale of your alliance. Black Dragon clasped his hands behind his back as he gazed at the gradually brightening skyline. I don't know what methods you use to unite the entire three realms, but I have no choice but to admire your skill. I, Black Dragon, am proud but not arrogant. Although the Demon World soldiers are elite against the entire three realms, I cannot deny that my chances of victory are less than 50%. 50%? You are indeed arrogant. The white-robed man snorted. 50% for sure, but I won't tell you why. Black Dragon looked at him seriously, raised his eyebrows, and said, but 50% is still too low for me. I need a higher success rate. And the way to increase the success rate is to destroy your alliance from the inside. The reason you united the three realms is because you have the confidence to deal with my demon realm. So the best way to make them lose confidence in you is to make a move on your home base. If they can't even defend their homes, how can they go out to fight the enemy? Don't you think so? Black Dragon, who was looking at the horizon, slowly turned around, his face filled with confidence and pride. To be honest, the white-robed man, who had planned everything, really didn't think of this move. But now that things had come to this, the best way to salvage the situation was to kill the commander of the devil race, Obliterate. To be able to become the commander of the demon race, he is indeed outstanding. Previously, when you said that you won this position purely by relying on your own strength, you were being too modest. A faint glow appeared on the halberd. Streams of spiritual energy flowed out of the halberd. The gravel outside the door began to tremble irregularly. You flatter me. Black Dragon cupped his hands with a faint smile. But you still can't escape death. The halberd instantly flew out of Black Dragon's hands. He calmly crossed his arms and chuckled. That might not be the case. Before he finished his sentence, a giant hammer was thrown out, causing the halberd to deviate from its original trajectory. When he looked outside, he saw that Shohai, who had been stabbed to death by the white-robed man's halberd, had come back to life. The ancient demon behind him had condensed once more, and it was even purer than before. Senior Shohai, you're finally awake. A hint of panic finally appeared on Black Dragon's calm face, and he hurriedly ran to Shohai's side. I was 15 minutes late. I was really worried that you wouldn't wake up. You should be hoping that I wouldn't wake up, right? Shohai's old and turbid eyes glowed. Black Dragon's expression froze before he smiled. How could that be? You know best what you're thinking. Do I even need to say anything else? You would have run away a long time ago if you weren't captured, right? Would you still be here to buy time for me? Shohai's eyes glowed as he smiled. He was actually in a fake death state just now. It was very simple why the white-robed man didn't notice him. When he discovered the demon Dharma body, there was a secret tome nearby. It was about the advancement of the demon Dharma body. The prerequisite was to be fatally injured and die once in order to reach greater mastery. His fake death was actually considered real death, but there was still a strand of his life body left in his body. In a situation like that, no one would be able to tell that he was faking his death. Senior, what are you saying? Black Dragon replied with a dry smile, but he couldn't help but think in his heart. He couldn't help but think to himself, you really are right. If I wasn't captured, I wouldn't even bother with you. I didn't think that you actually made the right bet and actually came back to life. But it's good that you're alive. If you're not alive, no one would be able to deal with that white-robed guy. Whatever. I don't have time to deal with you. Go do what you need to do. There's still a wild monkey waiting for me to take care of. Then, Shohai's silver hair fluttered as he glared at the white-robed man. How'd he come back to life? Yizichin looked at the old man in the sky in shock. He had personally seen the old man get stabbed to death by the white-robed man's halberd. CK. He actually came back to life again. He should have used some sort of secret technique that I don't know about. That's right. Since he was able to find the demon Dharma body, he might have obtained a fortune left behind by a certain powerhouse. I truly didn't expect it this time. and got tricked by them. The white-robed man squinted his eyes and said sullenly, Yi Zichen, leave with City Lord Qiu first. Hurry up and go over to the subdimension to take a look. Since Black Dragon was so confident that they could take down that place, then Yonghe definitely wasn't the only traitor. Hurry up and go back. We must stop them. Black Dragon's words made sense. If the main camp was taken down, then it would definitely shake the trust of the Grand Alliance of the Three Realms. When that happens, then the Grand Alliance of the Three Realms would truly fall apart due to some people with ulterior motives. Then Yi Zichen frowned and looked at the old man. The old man seems to be a lot stronger than before after coming back to life. Of course I'm going to stay here. Can't you see that the old man is already locked onto me? The white-robed man smiled. But don't worry about me. I can kill this old man once, so I can kill him a second time. Hurry up and leave. That side is more important. Fisk, who's worried about you? I can't be bothered with you. The white-robed man twitched his mouth. Then, City Lord Qiu and Yi Zichen flew out of the City Lord's manor. However, before they could get far, they saw Black Dragon rub his lips and smile towards them. Chapter 691. Qiu Yuan attacked. Given Black Dragon's level, if he were to face the white-robed man, a sneeze might be enough to kill him. But now that the white-robed man was fighting Qiu Hai, Black Dragon became the most difficult problem to deal with. Why are you in such a hurry? Where are you going? Could it be that you want to return to your lair? Don't go. That place has already been captured by my people. Even if you go back, what can you do? A faint smile appeared on Black Dragon's face. He stared closely at Yi Zichen, as if he was afraid that Yi Zichen would slip away. The reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Back then, the Yellow Emperor had hidden the ley line. For thousands of years, no one in the Three Realms had been able to find its location. If there was anyone in this world who knew the location of the ley line, it would be the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. The Dragon Vein must be found. Of course. Yi Zichen's expression darkened. The situation didn't look good at all. The white-robed man was being held back by Qiu Hai, and he knew that he was no match for Black Dragon. The situation at the headquarters was still unknown. What do you want? What do I want? My goal has always been very clear. I just want to invite the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation to become an honored guest of the Demon Realm and reveal the location of the ley line. That's all. I don't know the location of the Dragon Vein. Yi Zichen replied expressionlessly, but his heart was filled with helplessness. He had also heard that the Yellow Emperor had hidden the ley line. However, although he was the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, he had not received any information about the ley line from the Yellow Emperor. He, the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, had inherited the Xianyuan sword. As for the rest, there was nothing. No, the Xianyuan sword. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen's heart pounded violently. Ever since the white-robed man returned the Xianyuan sword, he had not taken it out. The white-robed man had told him to open it in the immortal domain, but this series of events had left him with no time to make the Xianyuan sword appear in the immortal domain. If he took it out now, it might attract the attention of the people from the immortal world. But the current situation, forget it, I'll bear with it for now. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it was best not to take out the Xianyuan sword. You still don't want to say it. Do you really think that I can't bear to kill you? Black Dragon's expression instantly darkened. He was determined to get the ley line. Yi Zichen's repeated obstructions caused him to be very displeased, and at the same time, his patience was completely worn down. Yi Zichen, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to tell me the location of the Dragon Vein or not? From his tone, one could tell that he was really angry. The spiritual energy in the surrounding space also gradually became viscous, continuously gathering with the Black Dragon as the center. Yi Zichen felt his scalp go numb. Sect Leader Yi, I'll stop him. You go back quickly. City Lord Qiu's face darkened as he mobilized the surrounding spiritual energy. However, if he tried to deal with the Black Dragon with his current strength, it would be like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Yi Zichen shook his head towards him, then touched the phone in his pocket. I will also answer for the last time. I don't know the location of the Dragon Vein. Yi Zichen had already made up his mind. If Black Dragon really did attack them, then he would take out Xianyuan's sword. As for attracting the attention of the God realm, let them pay attention. Fine, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Whoosh. Black Dragon stomped his feet, then clawed towards Yi Zichen's head. During this process, the other party had completely locked onto him with spiritual power, and he had no way to dodge. Xian Yuan's sword, don't disappoint me. Yi Zichen took a deep breath, then grabbed the phone in his hand. But at this moment, a green stream of light flashed in front of him and collided with the Black Dragon. Do you think I don't exist? Yi Zichen looked up in shock and saw Qiu Yuan standing in front of them, clad in armor and wielding two swords. Qiu Yuan. A joyful smile surfaced on Yi Zichen's face. Qiu Yuan nodded at him. You're welcome. Don't think too much. I still don't want to get involved in this matter. But this guy wants to bully my dad, and it seems like he's the boss of the guy who crushed my toys. I have to settle some scores with him. With that, Qiu Yuan turned around and narrowed his eyes at Black Dragon. Black Dragon smiled faintly when he saw Qiu Yuan. He had sensed Qiu Yuan's presence when he arrived upon city. However, they had never met, so he had always been a little cautious, afraid that the other party would suddenly attack from somewhere. But now, the other party had taken the initiative to offer herself to him, openly clashing head-on with him. That was the best thing for him. So you're the lucky one who inherited the legacy of the almighty expert of the immortal world. A level 1 immortal king? TSK. Are you sure you could deal with me? Black Dragon pursed his lips into a smile. The corners of Qiu Yuan's mouth also rose. I wouldn't dare. I hope I can take 300 moves from you. 300 moves should be enough time for the battle over there to end. At that time, the guy in white will naturally come to deal with you personally. Qiu Yuan said as he glanced at the battlefield, where the white-robed man was clearly gaining the upper hand despite the intense battle going on. I won't even need 300 moves to take your life. Black Dragon attacked without any hesitation. Qiu Yuan knitted his brows and prepared to fight, then shouted coldly at Yi Zichen and the others. Hurry up and leave. You guys aren't needed here. Be careful. Yi Zichen nodded. City Lord Qiu couldn't help but grit his teeth. Lil Yuan, you have to be careful. You're my only son. Qiu Yuan paused for a moment, then nodded with clenched teeth as he looked at City Lord Qiu's teary eyes. Don't worry, I'll definitely take care of you when you're old. Then, the two swords in his hands merged into a gigantic sword, which glowed with a faint green light as he charged towards Black Dragon. For streaks of light continuously clashed in the two battlefields in the sky, causing the shockwaves that shot out to completely destroy Pool City. Yi Zichen looked deeply at the white-robed man and Qiu Yuan in the sky, then back at City Lord Qiu. Although he kept on saying that he didn't care, his image as a strict father instantly crumbled when Qiu Yuan was in a life-and-death battle. No matter what, that was his child. How could he not care about Qiu Yuan's life? City Lord Qiu, Yi Zichen called out. He didn't want to disturb City Lord Qiu, but the current situation did not allow City Lord Qiu to be sad. Sect Master Yi. Elder Qiu wiped the moisture from the corner of his eyes. Yi Zichen glanced at the people fighting in the sky. Chapter 692. Chapter 692. Rebellion in a simple wooden house. The room was brightly lit with candles. Great Emperor Qingming was holding an ancient book. His brows furrowed and relaxed as he laughed heartily from time to time. Creak. The wooden door creaked as it was pushed open. Great Emperor Qingming, who was sitting in front of the table, put his ancient book aside and looked towards the door. A smile appeared on his lips. Yonghe, why do you have time to come here? Yonghe's brows were furrowed, and one could vaguely feel that he was haggard. I've been tossing and turning throughout the night. I don't feel at ease. What's there to feel uneasy about? Great Emperor Qingming welcomed Yonghe into the room with a smile. He poured another pot of tea and placed it on the table. I know what you're worried about. The demons are attacking aggressively, but there will definitely be no problems with that lord around. As he spoke, Great Emperor Qingming handed him a cup of steaming hot tea. I'm not worried about the demons. Yonghe shook his head with a dark expression and pushed the cup of tea back to the table. Then what's there to worry about? Boss Swayerin is protecting the sacred land of the immortal region. There won't be any problems unless the demons attack the sacred land of the immortal region. However, we can't let that happen. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is Great Emperor Qingming's tone was calm. However, Yonghe's expression suddenly changed. He gathered spiritual energy in his palm and struck towards Great Emperor Qingming's chest. Just how should I deal with you? Great Emperor Yonghe's attack caught Great Emperor Qingming off guard. The two of them were evenly matched, so the sudden attack directly forced Great Emperor Qingming back. He crashed into the wooden hut, creating a hole in it. He spat out blood and looked dispirited. Yonghe, what are you? In this palm strike, his opponent had also completely sealed off his spiritual power. He was no different from an ordinary person right now. If there was a difference, it would be that he was a heavily injured ordinary person. Great Emperor Qingming, who was lying on the ground, looked at him in confusion. Great Emperor Yonghe walked towards him step by step with a playful smile on his face. I always thought you were a smart person, but I didn't expect. Qingming, let me tell you, I'm actually working with the demons. Yonghe, you traitor! Great Emperor Qingming's eyes widened. The white-robed man had reminded him many times to be careful of Great Emperor Yonghe. However, the friendship between the two emperors made it impossible for him to be wary of Yonghe. Until now, you traitor! Great Emperor Yonghe looked playfully at Great Emperor Qingming, who was struggling to get up on the ground, and shook his head continuously. Great Emperor Qingming, Great Emperor Qingming, Great Emperor, how did you get hurt? A panicked cry suddenly sounded from afar. Quick! Yonghe is a traitor of our immortal realms. Kill him! Great Emperor Qingming roared, as if he had found a life-saving straw. Little did he know that when the voice got closer, he realized in his hand was an old man's head. The dead old man's eyes were fiercely staring ahead. It was clear that even until his death, he didn't expect that the other party would really kill him. Your Majesty, are you all right? The old man was wearing a red robe. He bent his back and looked at Great Emperor Qingming mockingly with a worried expression. How did you get so heavily injured? If even you are injured, who can stop us? Boom! Murder! After a violent explosion, the commoners ran away in panic. The explosion was like a fuse. More and more places showed signs of fighting. Great Emperor Qingming looked at Great Emperor Yonghe in shock. Shocked exclamations could be heard from time to time, followed by cries of pain. Old Hua and Great Emperor Yonghe looked at each other. Then Old Hua said, "Looks like you've succeeded. Didn't you say that it would be hard to deal with?" I didn't expect it to go so smoothly either, Great Emperor Yonghe shrugged. What's going on? Didn't you say that you could convince him to join us? Him? Old Hua threw the old man in his hand onto the ground and snorted. Stubborn. I thought he was the same kind of person as me. I didn't expect him to be so loyal to the immortal realms. The immortal realms have no lack of foolishly loyal people. Great Emperor Yonghe sneered. Great Emperor Qingming was about to lose his mind, but he still roared at the top of his lungs. You traitors! Traitors! Your Majesty, it's wrong to say that, Old Hua shrugged. Blazing Hua spread his hands and said, We just chose the right partner at the right time and the way to survive. We don't have high hopes for this alliance, so we naturally have to choose a partner that we think highly of and survive. Traitors! You traitors! You're so annoying. Great Emperor Yonghe, hurry up and get rid of him. Don't tell me you can't do it. If you can't do it, I can do it for you. Old Hua rubbed his palms together. It was obvious that he was looking forward to it. Yonghe, what's with that expression? Are you saying that even the high and mighty Great Emperor Qingming is afraid of death? Old Hua laughed. I just hate myself for not listening to Mr. Great Emperor Qingming gritted his teeth. Old Hua twitched his mouth and looked at Yonghe. This kind of sanctimonious guy is really annoying. That's true. Great Emperor Yonghe shrugged. Great Emperor Yonghe shrugged. It seems like you really want to kill him with your own hands, so I'll give you the chance. Thank you, Great Emperor Yonghe. Old Hua cupped his hands towards him, then licked his lips and looked at Great Emperor Qingming. The great emperors of the immortal realms are existences that are only comparable to the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. However, I'm also a famous executioner in the immortal realms. It's not a loss for you to die in my hands. But of course, if you beg me. Dream on. Great Emperor Qingming glared at Old Hua. If he had spiritual energy, he would definitely kill these two traitors, even if he had to risk his life. All right then. Old Hua sighed in disappointment. An orange-red glow appeared around his body. Don't hate me. Actually, I've always been blindly loyal to the immortal realms a few days ago. A fiery red palm slowly pressed down towards Great Emperor Qingming's forehead. Great Emperor Qingming didn't even blink as he stared at the two of them. Traitor! Traitor! Die! Old Hua's hand suddenly pressed down. Just as the flames were about to engulf Great Emperor Qingming, two blood-red daggers suddenly shot over. Who? Even Great Emperor Yonghe tensed up and looked around. Not long later, two whooshing sounds could be heard. Chapter 693. Attacking the mindy Zichen summoned the swirling flash armor the moment he entered the subdimension, then covered himself with a layer of blood armor. It was no longer the time to hide. The subdimension was in the middle of a rebellion, so he might lose his life if he wasn't careful. What's more, when he saw the smoke around him, City Lord Xiao immediately brought Great Emperor Qingming over and stuffed a pill into his mouth. You guys sure hid yourselves well, Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled faintly. The swirling flash armor covered his entire body, leaving only a pair of glistening eyes as he looked at them. Yonghe was very wary of Yi Zichen's appearance. Of course, he wasn't wary of Yi Zichen, but rather the white-robed man who was always following him. After carefully looking around, Yonghe's eyebrows were already tightly knitted together. Yi Zichen actually returned. Why didn't Black Dragon send any news? Yi Zichen touched the jade tablet in his pocket. The jade tablet wasn't broken, which meant that Black Dragon's life wasn't in danger. But if that's the case, then why did Yi Zichen appear here? Great Emperor Yonghe, what's going on? The Fire Cloud sect master's face was filled with worry. He knew very well just how heaven-defying that man was. Being able to open a subdimension in the three realms meant that he was at least of the Immortal King level. If that man returns, then we're all going to die. Yonghe shook his head and did not say anything. He merely looked around nervously. Yi Zichen naturally noticed their nervousness. He also knew that they were wary of the white-robed man's existence. Yi Zichen, since you're back, then Sir should be back as well, right? Great Emperor Qingming gradually recovered a bit after taking the pill. Yi Zichen did not answer his question. Instead, he asked, where did Heavenly King Li and God of Thunder go? And why don't I see Xie, Bayan, and company? After you left with the teacher, they all went back to their own places, Great Emperor Qingming replied. Creak. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth. He just had to go back now of all times. Isn't he intentionally making things difficult for me? Great Emperor Qingming seemed to notice Yi Zichen's change as well. His expression shook. Could it be It seems like that white-robed man didn't come back with you. At this moment, Great Emperor Yonghe suddenly let out a hearty laugh. He had just finished probing the surrounding space, but he did not find the white-robed man. Of course, if an existence of that level deliberately didn't want him to find it, he wouldn't be able to find it. But the main point was that he had never appeared. It was obvious that Yonghe and the others were traitors. However, the white-robed man did not appear to punish them. Only Yi Zichen and City Lord Xiao appeared in this space, and the jade tablet in his hands was not broken. In that case, everything could be explained. The white-robed man was currently being held back. There was no way to reveal himself. That gentleman really didn't come back with you? Great Emperor Qingming's expression also drastically changed. Yi Zichen nodded. There's a small problem. He can't leave right now. Damn it. Great Emperor Qingming gritted his teeth and cursed angrily, while Yonghe's side smile grew even more sinister. If the guy in white doesn't come back, are you two here to die? Blazing Hua calmed himself down and said in an ambiguous tone, Yi Zichen, we still have a lot of grudges to settle. Don't get cocky too early. Since City Lord Xiao and I can return, then he will naturally arrive soon. How long do you think Black Dragon can stop him for? Yi Zichen smiled. Hearing that, The fire cloud sect master's expression turned strange once more, while Yonghe snorted. However, Yonghe snorted, "Stop acting. The sweat in your palms already betrayed you." Yi Zichen quickly put his hands back into his sleeves, causing Yonghe to smile coldly. "The situation over there should be very complicated, right? You're too immature to think that you can scare us." Great Emperor Yonghe is right, Blasinghe added. "I wonder who's acting." Yi Zichen smiled calmly. Yi Zichen feigned calm and smiled. "Actually, you're not sure either, are you? You're wondering if Black Dragon can stop him." Yonghe's expression froze. He twitched his mouth without saying anything, and merely looked at Yi Zichen quietly. "I didn't expect this little guy to be so hard to deal with. I can't get any useful information from his face. The white robe man is indeed too strong. I don't know how long Black Dragon can stop him for. If the white robe man hurries back now, then should they retreat right now?" The psychological attack was indeed effective. Yonghe was a bit unsure of what to do. "I advise you guys to hurry up and surrender. Considering your contributions to the three realms, he might spare your lives when he returns." Yi Zichen's expression turned more confident. Yi Zichen's expression grew more and more confident. He knew very well that these people were very wary of the white robe man. Since he didn't have any more people on his side, all he could do was to psychological attack them and stall for time until the white robe man returns. "That's easy for you to say. This isn't the time for you to stop." Great Emperor Yonghe pursed his lips as he listened to the commotion around him. Yonghe pursed his lips tightly when he heard the commotion in the surroundings. "Even if the white robe man lets us go, the people of the immortal region will not let us go. We have no path of retreat." "How could that be? You should know who I am. I'm the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. The people of the immortal region should give me some face, right? As long as you guys stop now, I can plead on your behalf and spare your lives." To be honest, Yi Zichen was very nervous. From Yonghe's expression, he could tell that he was ready to go all out. If he really made a move, the consequences would be unimaginable. The reincarnation of a Yellow Emperor? Do you really think you're the Yellow Emperor for back then? Even the Yellow Emperor was forced to reincarnate by them. "Brat, don't you think the immortal region is too kind?" Yonghe clenched his fists tightly and shouted, "We have no way out now. After choosing to walk this path, we have no other way out. The white-robed man is indeed terrifying, but at least he hasn't returned yet." Great Emperor Yonghe gradually released his aura. Beside him, Old Wu grinned and snorted. "Great Emperor Yonghe is right. We have no way out. The white-robed man is indeed powerful. When he returns, I will definitely die. But before that, it will be enough for me to finish you off, brat. You won't have a good ending if you keep acting like this." Yi Zichen forced himself to shrug and smile, but his heart raced. Blasinghe suddenly took a step forward. The heat wave that came toward him seemed to be roasting him. Chapter 694. Arrogant. In the end, he still had to make his move. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. At this time, the high-level combat power in the dimensional space might only be a little higher than the sacred lands of the immortal region, but Great Emperor Qingming was already seriously injured. As for the various city lords and experts in the outer regions of the immortal domain, they should also be in deep trouble, unable to care about this side. He thought that he would be able to use the white-robed man to intimidate the other party. But the other party wasn't stupid. How could he be so easily fooled by a few words? You better think it through. If you really make a move, then there's really no turning back. Yi Zichen's gaze gradually turned cold. His blood energy surged, and a blood-colored scythe floated out from behind him. "Yonghe, you still have a chance to change if you stop now." Great Emperor Qingming also shouted angrily. "There's no point in talking any further. When we decided to betray the three realms, we never thought about turning back. Don't worry, I won't kill the two of you. It's more useful to capture you alive than to kill you." Yonghe's bean-sized eyes flickered, then scanned Great Emperor Qingming and Yi Zichen like a poisonous snake. With that, Great Emperor Yonghe's aura rose to its peak. Great Emperor Qingming clenched his teeth and took a step forward, only to be pulled back by Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen looked at Yi Zichen in confusion. He was the only one who could fight against Yonghe in the current situation. Even though he was heavily injured, Yonghe wouldn't have a good ending if he fought with his life on the line. Go and heal yourself. Leave this to me. As he said that, the aura around Yi Zichen turned even colder. He forcefully dragged Qingming over to City Lord Qiu's side and said, "Bring Great Emperor Qingming to recuperate. The other city lords aren't doing too well either. Go and help them." "How can we do that?" Great Emperor Qingming frowned. He knew exactly how strong Yi Zichen was. Fighting against Yonghe and blazing Hua with his strength was like throwing an egg against a rock. "Take him away." "All right." For some reason, City Lord Qiu was clearly stronger. He also knew that it would have been better if he had stayed. However, when he sensed Yi Zichen's aura, he sensed that Yi Zichen was far stronger than he was. Yi Zichen is merely a mid-stage sky immortal. Why does he give me such a feeling? City Lord Qiu glared at Yi Zichen, then dragged Great Emperor Qingming away without any hesitation. "You want to fight the two of us alone?" Yonghe shook his head with a sneer. "Young man, should I say that you are fearless because you are ignorant? I'm not that arrogant. If you're willing, you can fight me one-on-one. Of course, if you're afraid, the two of you can come at me together." Yi Zichen ignored their disdain and smiled. Then, he reached behind his back and took out the scythe, which was covered in blood energy. Then, he straightened his arm and pointed the scythe at the two of them, before hooking his finger at them. "Come on." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, a gust of wind suddenly blew past them. Yi Zichen stood proudly in front of Great Emperor Yonghe in company with his blood-red scythe. "Arrogant. One move is enough to deal with you." Blazing Hua shouted and waved his hands. The surrounding air suddenly became scorching hot. In the blink of an eye, scorching flames and waves of heat surged towards Yi Zichen's face. He already had a grudge with Yi Zichen, so he did not hold back at all. However, Yi Zichen did not even blink. He merely watched the wave of heat surge towards him. What is Yi Zichen trying to do? Great Emperor Qingming, who had left in advance, exclaimed. He was truly worried about Yi Zichen, so he stopped halfway. Blazing Hua has cultivated fire spiritual energy to the extreme. Even a complete stage sky immortal expert would not dare to take this fire head-on. He is the reincarnation of a Yellow Emperor. You are one of the great emperors of the sacred land of the immortal region. Do you not believe in the Yellow Emperor's strength? City Lord Qiu smiled. His impression of Yi Zichen changed drastically when he found out that he was the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. He had grown up listening to the stories of the Yellow Emperor, so he believed that the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor definitely had something special about him. What's more, that aura, of course I wouldn't be worried if he was the Yellow Emperor, but Great Emperor Qingming hesitated. Great Emperor Qingming hesitated. City Lord Qiu shook his head with a smile. There definitely won't be a problem. There definitely won't be a problem. He's the Yellow Emperor. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the waves of fire engulfed Yi Zichen. Fiery light soared into the sky, illuminating the night sky with an orange-red hue. Yi Zichen, Great Emperor Qingming roared. City Lord Qiu also frowned, but he did not shout it out. He was just as worried. Blazing Hua glanced at the smoke, then turned around and shook his head. Those who talk nonsense usually don't have much strength. Those who speak arrogantly are usually weak. Great Emperor Yonghe, let's go and clean up the other battlefields. Is this all the sect master of the Fire Cloud Gate, the leader of the 6 gates, has? Amidst the flames, a figure wearing silver armor and carrying a scythe on his shoulder slowly walked out of the flames. Great Emperor Qingming revealed a look of joy when he saw that. City Lord Qiu's frown also relaxed, and he smiled. See that? He is the Yellow Emperor, the highest leader of the immortal region. All right, stop looking. There shouldn't be any problems with little friendy here. Hurry up and take care of the others. We can't let these traitors go. City Lord Qiu's expression darkened as he spoke. The Qiu family had been loyal for generations, so they were very angry when they saw someone betray them. Fire Gate Master, if this is all you have, then I think you should just give up. Within the flames, Yi Zichen's figure grew clearer and clearer. Gradually, the towering flames drilled into his scythe, then disappeared. I didn't expect this weapon to actually be able to absorb fire. Yi Zichen couldn't help but be speechless. He did not dodge the flames mainly because he wanted to test just how strong the fire cloud gate was. He did not know that the blood-red scythe could absorb fire. He merely wanted to use his divine artifact armor and max-leveled, unbreakable body to resist it. He did not expect to find an unexpected surprise. The fire cloud gate looked at the disdainful Yi Zichen in shock. Impossible. Nothing is impossible. Yi Zichen shrugged, then stretched lazily. Yi Zichen shrugged, then stretched lazily. Your fire hurt me quite a bit just now, but don't say that I'm bullying you. I've already let you attack once, so it's my turn now. With that, Yi Zichen took a step forward and stared coldly in front of him. Chapter 695. Arrogant. Arrogant. At the very least, one must have the ability to be arrogant. Yi Zichen looked at the fire cloud sect master, who had a look of shock on his face, and his aura became sharper. In terms of strength, Yi Zichen was truly rather weak. Everyone present was a powerful existence in the three realms. Any one of them was at least a complete stage sky immortal. If he was merely a mid-stage sky immortal, then he would not be able to match up to a high-stage sky immortal. However, the strength of one's spiritual energy did not mean everything. If one's strength was not enough, then one could use treasures to make up for it. After all, Yi Zichen was someone who had learned all of the heavenly court support techniques. How could he be afraid of someone like the Fire Cloud Sect Master with a bunch of celestial techniques? Fire Cloud Sect Master, are you sure you want to deal with him yourself? Great Emperor Yonghe asked. I was merely careless just now. I don't need your help against a brat like him. The Fire Cloud Sect Master squinted his eyes and snorted coldly. Blazing Hun narrowed his eyes and snorted coldly. Yonghe nodded and took a step back. With his strength, he could already tell a bit about Yi Zichen. However, Yi Zichen's relationship with the Fire Cloud Sect Master was merely one of profit. For him, he did not really care about the Fire Cloud Sect Master's death. What's more, if the Fire Cloud Sect Master died here, then it would be even more beneficial for him in the future. If you're not confident, then you can call for help. Yi Zichen held the blood scythe and looked at the Fire Cloud Sect Master, who was surrounded by flames. At that moment, both of them were surrounded by a red light, but the difference was the Fire Cloud Sect Master was aflame, while Yi Zichen was filled with blood energy. You have a sharp tongue. I hope you can still talk like that later. Boom! A wave of heat surged out from the Fire Cloud Sect Master's hands. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, then stabbed the blood scythe into the ground and formed a seal with his hands. In an instant, the blood energy around his body surged and formed a barrier around him. On top of the barrier, one could vaguely see strange runes flowing above it. You're trying to embarrass yourself with just this? If you surrender now, then I might spare your life. Yi Zichen looked forward calmly. No matter how strong the Fire Cloud Sect Master's flames were, they were unable to do anything to the barrier. The Fire Cloud Sect Master's expression darkened, but he stared closely at the blood aura around Yi Zichen with a frown. Given this kid's strength, he shouldn't be able to block my flames. If I'm not mistaken, it should be due to the blood energy in his body. This old one has cultivated for more than 1,000 years, and it can be said that I've read quite a few Immortal Realm secret texts, but I've never heard of a blood energy cultivation method. We have to guard against his blood chi, but since it's blood chi, there's a limit to it. Even if he's full of blood chi, he can't maintain it forever. Blazing Hun nodded slightly. He had already made up his mind. Drag. Since he didn't know what this blood chi was like, he just had to wait for it to dissipate. The barrier was indeed strong, but from start to finish, he hadn't seen Yi Zichen attack him in any way. He was certain that Yi Zichen's defense might be invincible, but in the face of absolute strength, Yi Zichen couldn't hurt him. Thinking of this, he was no longer anxious. He was sure that after a while, Yi Zichen would be the one panicking. What should we do? Yi Zichen frowned within the barrier. It was just as Blazing Hua had thought. He could defend, but he couldn't pose any real threat to Blazing Hua. His blood qi continued to deplete. If this continued, he was destined to be the one to bow down. Unless Yi Zichen silently touched the phone in his pocket. Xian Yuan's sword. He hadn't used it ever since the white-robed man returned it to him. However, the white-robed man had reminded him 3 times that he could only use it in the sacred land of the immortal region. Otherwise, the people of the god realm would definitely notice. Crack! A soft cracking sound rang out. Yi Zichen looked up and saw that the barrier that blocked the flames had cracked, while the blood-red scythe in the ground had also dimmed. Brat, you can't hold on anymore, right? Blazing was snickered. However, if one looked closely, they would notice that his hand, which was controlling the flames, was also trembling. I can't hold on anymore. Aren't you the same? There will be a moment when blood qi runs out, but there will also be a moment when spiritual energy runs out. The same? Blazing was gaze sharpened. He reached into his pocket and took out a red pill. Great Emperor Yonghe's eyes twitched when he saw the pill. Quenching Flame Pill. It was a pill unique to the Fire Cloud Gate. Only elders and above were given one. The pill was extremely expensive to make, but it would greatly increase the purity of the flames after consuming it. At the same time, it would also increase the strength of the person consuming it by 30%. However, after the effects of the pill wore off, the person's meridians would be severed. Even if they recovered in the future, they would still be greatly weakened. Normally, people would only consume it when facing a trap that they couldn't deal with. But now, from the looks of it, Yi Zichen didn't pose any threat to him. However, at that very moment, Great Emperor Yonghe noticed Blazing Hua's eyes. It was a pair of blood-red eyes that were filled with rage. Just what kind of grudge do they have against each other? But he ate it. What does it have to do with me? Great Emperor Yonghe smiled, then continued to watch the scene in front of him like he was watching a show. Blazing Hua, who placed the pill in his mouth, instantly caused the flames on his body to rise several meters high, as if they were going to burn the entire world. Die! With a roar, the flames in Blazing Hua's body turned into a roaring fire dragon that tore at Yi Zichen's barrier. Crack! 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 The crack on the barrier grew larger and larger until it was gradually covered in cracks. Slap! Shatter! Ugh! Yi Zichen coughed up a mouthful of purplish-red blood. While it was the barrier that was broken, it was his mind that was injured. The blood-red scythe in front of him also turned into a wisp of purplish-red blood energy and disappeared. Yi Zichen half-knelt on the ground and stared at the roaring fire dragon. Ha, die! Die! Blazing Hua laughed maniacally as if he had gone mad. Yi Zichen, who half-knelt on the ground, watched the fire dragon approach him. Sorry, Blazing Hua muttered softly. Yi Zichen muttered softly. Then, a dazzling golden light shot through the sky. Holiness, dignity, solemnity, everything in the world couldn't help but feel subservient when they saw the light. The might of a king is inviolable. Whoosh! The beam of light was like a bolt of lightning. It split the fire dragon into 2 and stopped half a meter behind Blazing Hua. Roar! The fire dragon dissipated with a wail. At the same time, bang! The Blazing Hua, who was still smiling maniacally, fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. It's your turn, Great Emperor Yonghe. Yi Zichen's abyss-like voice sounded out from the golden light. It was cold, deep, and inviolable. At that moment, he was the king. Chapter 696. A secret, the golden light of the Xian Yuan sword completely enveloped the entire dimensional space, and wherever the light reached, everything would submit to it. What is this feeling? The expressions of the other people who were fighting were all shocked. When the golden light appeared, they all felt an inexplicable urge to kneel down on one knee and submit to it. City Lord Xiao, who sent Great Emperor Qingming to a safe place to heal, looked towards the source of the golden light. As expected of the Yellow Emperor. Has he finally awakened? Great Emperor Qingming's eyes teared up. Before he became famous, he had grown up listening to the Yellow Emperor's stories, but he had never seen the Yellow Emperor's glory. It could be said that it was his greatest regret. Until Yi Zichen appeared, the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation caused him to pay close attention to Yi Zichen. Since he knew some of the secrets of the immortal region, He did his best to protect Yi Zichen. All of that was for this day. Great Emperor Qingming, who had a gratified and excited smile on his face, suddenly had a drastic change in expression. What happened? City Lord Qiu naturally noticed Great Emperor Qingming's expression. It was a mixture of fear and nervousness. No, now isn't the time. Now isn't the time. Great Emperor Qingming struggled to get up, but City Lord Qiu pressed him down. You can't move around right now. What do you mean by not the time? What are you talking about? Now isn't the time. Not the time. Hurry over to where Yi Zichen is. He's in danger. Buzz, several upper echelons of the immortal region sat on cushions in an ancestral hall within the sacred land of the immortal region. The expression of Serene, who was the oldest in the ancestral hall, suddenly changed drastically. Even the shoulders of the white-shirt Flame Emperor, who sat beside him, trembled. Brother Yellow Emperor. The white-shirt Flame Emperor stood up from the ground, and a powerful spiritual pressure emanated from his body. He glared at the people in the ancestral hall with a chilling coldness. I know what some of you are thinking, but don't try anything funny in front of me. Brother Yellow Emperor was forced to reincarnate by some of you back then because I wasn't there. This time, who dares to touch Brother Yellow Emperor? If you dare touch Brother Yellow Emperor again, I, the Flame Emperor, will stake my life to take your lives. As he spoke, Emperor Yan's aura locked onto everyone in the ancestral hall. At the same time, he slowly walked to the entrance of the ancestral hall. The atmosphere in the ancestral hall was silent. After a long time, Serene spoke. Flame Emperor, you're exaggerating. What happened in the past was already in the past, so there was no need to mention it again. Now that Brother Yellow Emperor has awakened, and the Xianyuan sword has been unsheathed, it will definitely cause a storm. Right now, our first priority is to protect Brother Yellow Emperor. Whether I'm being too serious or not, I'm sure some people here know very well. The Flame Emperor's white robe fluttered under the influence of his spiritual power. He stared at everyone in the ancestral hall and smiled. The fact that I didn't cause any trouble for you back then was already my bottom line. Don't blame me for not warning some of you. Don't give yourself away. Emperor Yin, someone in the ancestral hall, scolded with a frown. The Flame Emperor only glanced at him indifferently and sneered. Don't give yourself away. With that, the Flame Emperor turned into a streak of light and disappeared from the ancestral hall. Brother Serene, the Flame Emperor is being a bit too impudent. After the Flame Emperor left, someone in the ancestral hall couldn't help but angrily scold him. In response, Serene also looked at them indifferently and snorted. It's not like you don't know why the Flame Emperor is like this. I also have to say something here. Since the Yellow Emperor's 9 reincarnations have ended, and he reincarnated according to your wishes back then, if anyone dares to cause trouble for him, these old bones of mine. Humph! An icy snort came from Serene's nose. His meaning was self-evident. It wasn't just the immortal region. The underworld and heavenly court in the other 2 realms also sensed the aura's appearance. As expected of Brother Yellow Emperor, the 9 reincarnations were so dangerous, but he still succeeded. The great sacred emperor, equaling heavens, shook his head with a smile. He was like a shadow. This is interesting. The demon world's previous attacks were all destroyed by Brother Yellow Emperor. This time it's all fate. The Jade Emperor, who is widely known for his muddle-headedness, revealed a faint smile. However, this smile was vastly different from his previous expression. That kid actually succeeded? He sure is lucky. If I'm not wrong, it should be that kid, right? Wonderful, wonderful. Then, he shook his head and took a bite of the immortal fruit in front of him. Who cares? Summon the 7 fairies and have them dance for me. The guards of the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches immediately left to summon the 7 fairies. At this moment, the space within the palace suddenly rippled. You actually have the leisure to come here? The Jade Emperor's tone and expression were both very wise, a complete opposite of his usual muddle-headedness. Do you think I want to come here? A black shadow appeared. It was the great sacred emperor equaling heavens. You came for him? The Jade Emperor said calmly. I can more or less guess why you came. I don't have any enmity towards him. We're sovereigns of the three realms. I don't deny that I have ambitions to rule, but I also know that the people above aren't easy to deal with. You're smart. Great sacred emperor equaling heaven sneered. The Jade Emperor narrowed his eyes and shrugged. Let's not talk about this. We haven't seen each other for 10,000 years. Why don't we stay here and watch my daughters dance? It's quite nice. Pretending to be muddle-headed, you sure are good at it. There's nothing we can do about it. If we stand out too much, we'll lose our lives. You and I both know very well how he reincarnated back then. The Jade Emperor crossed his legs like a hooligan and spoke with disdain. Back then, he was too dazzling. That's why he ended up like that. However, he is also quite pitiful. He wholeheartedly worked for immortal domain, yet was forced to reincarnate by those little fellas. Just a bunch of despicable fellows. The great sacred emperor equaling heaven harumphed coldly. The Jade Emperor jumped up from his seat as if someone had stepped on his tail. He quickly made a hand seal and covered the entire cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Do you want to die? If you want to die, don't take me with you. This is my territory. What if the people above hear you? Look at how scared you are. The great sacred emperor equaling heaven sneered disdainfully. Great sacred emperor equaling heaven sneered disdainfully, but he did not say anything else to slander the people above him. He knew very well that they were talking about the lower three realms. In reality, they were just pets kept by the people above. However, I must say that your heavenly court has produced quite a few good seedlings. When Brother Yellow Emperor releases the ley line, there will be a group of people who can go up with you. Probably. A hint of yearning suddenly appeared in the Jade Emperor's eyes. I've stayed here for too long. It's time to go up and take a look. However, before that, I have a question for you. The great sacred emperor equaling heaven's tone suddenly turned solemn as he spoke in a low voice. Chapter 697. Are you trying to drag me down with you? The Jade Emperor smiled helplessly. He glanced at the front of the palace and looked at his finger. The Jade Emperor, who was wearing a dragon robe, smiled helplessly. He glanced at the front of the hall, and his gaze landed on his finger. The Jade Emperor smiled helplessly. He glanced at the front of the palace and looked at his finger. Ignoring everything else, the heavenly court is the one that has the most direct connection to the God realm in the lower three realms. You might not know the situation in the God realm, but I can only say that the heavenly court is currently struggling to survive in the cracks. Struggling to survive in the cracks. Do you understand? As the ruler of the heavenly court, my every word and action will directly affect the rise and fall of the heavenly court. Now you're asking me what I would do if the people of the God realm wanted to deal with him. What do you think I should do? The Jade Emperor's expression was extremely solemn. He rubbed his fingers and looked at the black figure in front of him with a questioning gaze. I can't compare to you. You can't do enough for the underworld, but can I? What's more, I don't have much contact with him. Why should I take such a dangerous step for him? I've endured for tens of thousands of years, and I was just about to get through this safely. Don't you think it's laughable that you're suddenly telling me to take such a dangerous step? The great sacred emperor equaling heavens suddenly stood up from his chair and looked up at the Jade Emperor. He couldn't help but shake his head. It seems that you've made up your mind to not care. Don't think that everything is too perfect. If that day really comes, do you think you can remain unscathed? At least that day hasn't come yet. The Jade Emperor's expression was filled with determination. The great sacred emperor equaling heavens nodded and snorted. And here I thought you'd come to your senses after so long. It seems that I was thinking too much. With that, the great sacred emperor equaling heavens turned to leave. The Jade Emperor smiled. You're not staying? There's no need. With a wave of his sleeve, the black figure in the palace disappeared. The Jade Emperor sighed as he watched the black figure disappear. He looked at the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Come in. The restrictions in the palace disappeared with the Jade Emperor's words. The 7 fairies also appeared in front of the palace and bowed towards the Jade Emperor. Let's start. The Jade Emperor absent-mindedly looked at the 7 dancing fairies as he picked up the celestial fruits from the plate. He kept thinking about what the great sacred emperor equaling heavens had just said. At the very least, I haven't seen anything wrong with my current choice. When a Xianyuan sword was unsheathed, the God Realm would definitely sense it. The Yellow Emperor had failed back then, and now he was merely a reincarnation who had just awakened. What could he do? What we should be praying for now is for the God Realm to slow down a little instead of trying to strike a stone with an egg. But how is that possible? Don't you agree, the high and mighty God Realm? The Jade Emperor slowly raised his head and looked into the void. There was a complicated look in his eyes. It's like a dogskin plaster. It's so annoying. The white-robed man pushed Xiao back dozens of meters with one strike, and he cursed in his heart. Xiao strength had increased greatly after his revival. He was now at least a 7th-stage Sky Supreme. If they were in the God world, the white-robed man would be able to deal with him with a flick of his finger. But this was the lower realm. He didn't dare to use too much God power, or else it would alert the people above. BZZ. Suddenly, a series of irregular ripples appeared in the surrounding space. The white-robed man quickly raised his head and saw a dazzling golden light rapidly spreading and enveloping the surroundings. This position, the white-robed man squinted his eyes, and then his eyelids twitched. Why is this brat so good at causing trouble? Xiao, Black Dragon, and Xiaoyuan also sensed the strange ripples. They stopped fighting and looked towards the source of the light. This feeling, could it be the #1 divine artifact of the primordial times? Xiao was shocked. The white-robed man's heart sank even further when he noticed Xiao expression. It really is the #1 divine artifact of the primordial times. I must report this to His Majesty. Xiao ignored the white-robed man in front of him as he exclaimed inwardly. A spiritual formation filled with strange characters appeared beneath his feet. Don't even think about it. The white-robed man roared angrily. The image of the sea god behind him gradually solidified, and many runes appeared on the trident in his hand. An even more powerful pressure was released from his body. Under this pressure, Black Dragon and Xiaoyuan both revealed pained expressions as they uncontrollably fell to the ground. How is he so strong? Black Dragon's eyes twitched, and his body trembled uncontrollably. This wasn't his intention, but his brain was no longer under his control. Under this pressure, the fear that came from the depths of his heart was irresistible. What is this feeling? Xiao couldn't help but turn around. It was also at this moment that he finally saw the white-robed man's face clearly. How is this possible? Xiao couldn't help but roar out. This face is this spiritual formation. Are you trying to tell them about Xianyuan? The white-robed man's calm voice contained a chilling coldness. He stared at Xiao with his sea-blue eyes. No, those aren't the eyes of a human. The person standing in front of him was no longer a human, but a god. The god holding the trident was looking down at him, as if he was an ant. Xiao couldn't help but sweat down his back, drenching his clothes. The image of the giant demon behind him didn't dare to resist at all, as if it had met its natural predator. It lay on the ground and threw its hammers to the side as it trembled. The laws here don't allow you to use this kind of power. Xiao grabbed at his hair in extreme fear and roared hysterically. In your face, your aura. Who are you? What kind of person are you? You don't belong in this plane. Laws? Laws are meant to be broken. What do laws do to me? The white-robed man's voice was filled with disdain. Behind him, the 30,000-meter-tall sea god's eyes shone with azure light. The surrounding space seemed to be unable to withstand the pressure and began to collapse on a large scale. The laws of heaven and earth became chaotic. Within this shattered space, Xiao felt his connection with the laws of heaven and earth gradually disappear. Impossible. This is impossible. The laws cannot be defied. The laws will kill you. You're at least as strong as a sage. There's no way you could descend here with that kind of strength. Impossible. Xiao shook his head and roared. At the same time, he secretly called for his avatar to stand up. But the Dharma body didn't pay any attention to him. It just crawled on the ground and trembled. Oh! The white-robed man pursed his lips and smiled. You can't kill me. If you kill me, the Demon Emperor will definitely not let you go. He will kill you, and the laws will kill you. The rules will also erase you. The rules will not tolerate anyone's provocation. You will die, you will die. Is that so? Then I want to see if the demon emperor you speak of will take revenge for you. Will the laws that you've always believed in take action? With that, the Poseidon's halberd on the white-robed man's back stabbed towards Chiu-Hai without any hesitation. Chapter 698. The laws appear, powerful pressure pressed down from all directions. The white-robed man, who was about to finish off Chiu-Hai, stopped and smirked as he looked into the distance. Laws! With that, the space around them began to distort. A pair of white hands appeared and tore the space apart. A swing appeared, and a lowly girl who looked to be in her teens sat on top of it. The girl's hair was snow white, and her eyelashes were the same color. She sat on the swing expressionlessly as her legs swung back and forth. I didn't think the master of the laws of the three realms would be a lowly. The white-robed man couldn't help but laugh. The girl raised her fan-like eyelashes and glanced at him with her pitch-black eyes. I am the laws of the three realms. I am the laws of the three realms. I am illusory to begin with. I only formed this body to meet thee in order to see thee. Then you really have a bad taste. The white-robed man smiled as he took a few steps forward. The white-robed man chuckled and took a few steps forward. To be able to witness the descent of the laws is truly a blessing. I wonder if the master of the laws has come to kill me? The laws cannot be defied. This plane can only restrict the strength of sky supremes. Thou hast used the power of a ruler in this plane, and this is a provocation. Even if thou hast not come from this plane, I will still punish thee. Ruler. Chiu-Hai's eyes twitched. The white-robed man was actually a ruler above the saints. Cold sweat trickled down his back. Just an hour ago, he had actually been mocking a ruler-level expert. That's great, the white-robed man smiled. The white-robed man smiled faintly and raised his right hand. A trident appeared in his palm, like the sea god's dharma body. Unfortunately, you will be the second master of the laws to die by my hands. Boom! He unleashed his divine power. The white-robed man no longer cared about Chiu-Hai. He couldn't afford to be careless when facing a master of the laws. The second? It seems you've killed a law before. Then he really is useless. He actually died by the hands of a mortal, the girl smiled. The lowly girl faintly smiled. Snap! She snapped her fingers, and the laws of heaven and earth suddenly changed. The world-destroying thunder rumbled. The wind howled, and the torrential rain poured down as if a hole had been opened in the sky. The howling winds made it difficult for them to breathe, and the torrential rain made it difficult for them to open their eyes. An intense sense of oppression kept pressing down on the white-robed man's sea god dharma body. A good chance. Chiu-Hai, who was lying on the ground, suddenly dashed towards Black Dragon. He grabbed Black Dragon by the collar and fled without looking back. You want to leave? The white-robed man grabbed towards Chiu-Hai without hesitation. The hand was much faster than Chiu-Hai's escaping speed. Bang! Just as it was about to grab Chiu-Hai, the hand made of divine power slammed into the invisible barrier. Thank you for your help, Master of the Laws. Chiu-Hai stopped and bowed deeply towards the lowly. Let's go. Chiu-Hai nodded, then flew off into the distance. At the same time, the expression of the white-robed man who was stopped by the lowly gradually turned cold. He glared at the lowly and said, "He's not someone who belongs to the three realms either, but he didn't break the rules." The scene returned to the battlefield in the subdimension. Since Yi Zichen's attack was simply too fast, even though the Fire Cloud Sect Master was cut in half, his life force did not immediately disappear. He laid on the ground with an incomprehensible look on his face. How could this be? The Fire Cloud Sect Master screamed in his heart, but he could no longer make a sound. He could only silently feel his life force dissipate, and look at the young man standing proudly under the golden light with resentment and helplessness. Am I going to die? A wry smile flashed across his heart. For some reason, a memory that had been sealed for a long time suddenly appeared in the depths of his soul. He thought back to 1,000 years ago. He thought back to when he had friends by his side before he established the Fire Cloud Gate. Back then, he did not have the ambition that he did now. He was just like the people of the immortal region. He grew up listening to the stories of the Yellow Emperor and idolized the Yellow Emperor. But people will always change. A teardrop rolled down from the corner of his eye and landed in the pool of blood. This should be the feeling of death, right? But for some reason, he wanted to laugh. Perhaps dying would be a relief for him. What's more, dying in the hands of the person he idolized for half his life. Then, the Fire Cloud sect master's life force completely dissipated. Yi Zichen, who held Xin Yuan's sword, looked at the Fire Cloud sect master, whose soul dissipated, then looked towards great Emperor Yonghe. Seeing as you've served the immortal region so well for so many years, I can let you choose how you want to die. It seems like you've awakened after reincarnation, right? Great Emperor Yonghe smiled, but he was not as calm as he appeared on the surface. The awakened Yellow Emperor's reincarnation and the complete Xin Yuan sword. Even if Yi Zichen had not completely digested the Yellow Emperor's memories, killing him would be as easy as killing an ant. You have a problem with that? Yi Zichen replied calmly. Then there must be a lot of unbearable memories in your memories, right? For example, you were forced to reincarnate back then. Yi Zichen finally found out the truth about the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation the moment he awakened. So that the immortal region could have an immortal king reincarnation? It's all bullshit. Great Emperor Yonghe chuckled when he noticed Yi Zichen's change. Yi Zichen, since you remembered your helplessness back then why are you risking your life for the immortal region now? Immortal Domain was full of a group of sanctimonious fellas. When you faced danger, their choice was to abandon you. Back then, did anyone say a single word for you? Didn't Big Brother swear and choose to remain silent as well? Then what do you think I should do? Work with the demons and betray the three realms like you? Yi Zichen couldn't help but snicker. This isn't betrayal. It's just that we have to make choices in order to survive. Just like how they abandoned you in order to survive back then. Why don't you work with us now? Although you had a grudge with the demons back then, it has already faded after so many years. Work with us. The God Realm will definitely notice when Xin Yuan's sword is unsheathed. Do you want the tragedy of the past to repeat itself? It wasn't easy for you to successfully reincarnate this time. Are you going to wait for the people of the God Realm to descend and be forced to reincarnate? Great Emperor Yonghe's words were filled with sincerity. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. Chapter 699. Chapter 699. Betrayal, idiot. You're an idiot. Great Emperor Yonghe continuously scolded as he crushed the jade tablet in his hand. The situation was already out of his control. He needed reinforcements. Not long after he crushed the jade tablet, the traders of the three realms who were fighting all rushed over. Everyone's eyes twitched when they saw the Fire Cloud sect master who had been split in half. The Fire Cloud sect master is dead. At the same time, the people who were fighting with them also rushed over. Since the traders' betrayal was too sudden, it was clear that many of the immortal region's strongest combatants were heavily injured. Despite that, they still continued to fight. You traitors! The person who cried out the most was the city lord of Hundred Flower City, Lin Shihe. She clenched her fists tightly as she looked at Xiao Yao, who stood beside Yonghe. Zizhao and I have treated you and your family. You actually treated him like this? Tears rolled down her cheeks. Yi Zichen glanced over and saw that Zhao Zizhao had several visible wounds on his body. Due to the excessive blood loss, Zhao Zizhao had to be supported by Lin Shihe. The others did the same. They all stared at the group of people standing opposite them. There was no lack of people close to them. I didn't expect there to be so many of you. It seems like it's a team. Yi Zichen smiled and looked at Great Emperor Yonghe. Did you call all of them over to fight to the death? Not really. Great Emperor Yonghe shook his head, then looked up and called out, Everyone's here. Everyone's here. Take us away. Someone's here. Yi Zichen's expression changed. He looked up and saw that the subdimension was suddenly torn apart. A huge demonic figure appeared from the crack and wrapped around Yonghe and the other traders. You want to leave? Dream on. Freeze. The body freezing art. The demonic figure suddenly stopped. Qiu Hai, who had come to save Yonghe and the others, also froze. Why can't I move? Everything happened so suddenly that Xiao Hai didn't even have time to use his divine power to break the body freezing art. After using the body freezing technique, Yi Zichen slashed towards the demon's arm with Xin Yuan's sword without any hesitation. Sizzle, the sword did not stop at all and directly chopped off the troll's arm. The troll howled in pain, but just as Yi Zichen was about to deliver a second slash, it disappeared. The giant demon disappeared, along with Great Emperor Yonghe and the other traitors. He ran away. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes at the crack in space. Those guys should have escaped from there. Of course, he didn't think that the fixed body art would be able to keep them here for long. But no matter what, this was the complete version of the fixed body art. He had tested it before. Even Luo Wei would be frozen for a second. He didn't think that Xiao Hai's avatar would be released in an instant. Was it because of the difference in strength? Yi Zichen looked towards the ground and saw that the troll's arm that Yi Zichen chopped off was still on the ground. He landed in front of the arm, and when he touched the arm, his arms, which were dozens of feet long, became the length of a normal person. Xiao Hai's. Buzz. Right at this moment, another fluctuation appeared in space. Yi Zichen instinctively tightened his grip on the Xin Yuan sword and released his spiritual awareness. "Oh, little friendy, how have you been?" A hearty laugh rang out in the void. Not long after, a middle-aged man in a white robe appeared in front of everyone. The appearance of the white-robed middle-aged man caused the surrounding people to whisper among themselves. "Don't you think this person looks familiar? He does look a little familiar. No, that's not right. Isn't that the Flame Emperor of the Holy Land?" "Stop joking. How could Yin Emperor?" Someone couldn't help but mock, but before he could finish his words, he stuttered, "This really seems to be Yin Emperor. Yindi. It really is Yindi." While the onlookers were still shocked by the appearance of the Flame Emperor, another old man wearing bee-skin clothes appeared in this space. "Congratulations on your successful reincarnation." The elder walked up to Yi Zichen and cupped his hands in greeting. "Swearin'. That's swearin'." Swish, swish, swish. More and more people appeared in the space. All of them walked in front of Yi Zichen, causing the onlookers to be completely shocked. These people were all higher-ups of the sacred lands of the Immortal Region. Commoners of the Immortal Region would only get to see them once every 10,000 years. I didn't expect so many of them to come this time. How does brother you know so many? Ruan Qingtian couldn't stay calm anymore. He had never underestimated Yi Zichen, so he didn't dare to imagine that Yi Zichen knew so many higher-ups of the Immortal Region. "Brother Yellow Emperor, congratulations on your successful reincarnation." The white-robed Flame Emperor's eyes were filled with sincere joy. "I nearly forgot there were other people here." Flame Emperor raised his hand to set up a seal, but it was too late. Those who were able to stay here were not normal people, so they naturally heard Flame Emperor's words. "Yellow Emperor. Yi Zichen is actually the Yellow Emperor." Even Zuimo, Ruan Qingtian, and Xue Qi, who were on good terms with Yi Zichen, were unable to remain calm. "Yi Zichen actually aye. Stone stuttered as he looked at Yi Zichen, who was surrounded by the higher-ups of the Immortal Region, then grabbed Xue Qi. "I didn't hear wrong, right?" Yi Zichen, how am I supposed to know? Xue Qi was also completely confused. He didn't dare to imagine that he was actually brothers with the Yellow Emperor. All of the onlookers looked at Yi Zichen with heated gazes. The Yellow Emperor, that was a legendary existence. Who in the Immortal Region didn't grow up listening to the stories of the Yellow Emperor? "All right, don't just stand there like idiots." Great Emperor Qingming stood up. At this moment, Great Emperor Qingming stood up and said, "This time, we were plotted against by the traitor, and all of us suffered injuries. This is only the beginning of our war with the demons. There will definitely be more serious problems waiting for us to solve in the future. All of you are quite injured, so why aren't you going back to treat your wounds?" Great Emperor, someone in the crowd suddenly spoke up. Someone in the crowd suddenly spoke up. Great Emperor Qingming glanced at him and heard him speak. "You are a supreme existence of the Immortal Region, so you should know a bit, right? Sect Master Yi, is he really the Yellow Emperor?" Everyone else also looked over. Sensing the heated gazes, Great Emperor Qingming glanced over at Yi Zichen, then nodded with a smile. Yes. Yi Zichen nodded. There was no point in hiding it anymore. Rather than hiding it, he might as well say it out loud. That way, it would help boost everyone's morale. He really is the Yellow Emperor. Everyone laughed when they heard Great Emperor Qingming's confirmation. Many of them even started to dance in joy. He really is the Yellow Emperor. All right, we know what we need to know. Hurry up and treat your wounds. With the Yellow Emperor here, we will definitely win the war against the demons. Victory! Everyone raised their arms and cheered. Yellow Emperor. Chapter 700. Who said you were sitting? The title of the #1 divine artifact of the primordial era is truly not just for show. Qiuhai leaned against a huge boulder outside the immortal region. His left arm had already disappeared. Senior, shouldn't we take our time to think about this? He's simply too strong. If we still act rashly. Black Dragon finally realized how laughable the operation was after witnessing the white-robed man's strength. The deep sense of helplessness still lingered in his mind. He couldn't help but shiver when he thought about it. We do need to think about this, Qiuhai nodded. But you don't have to worry too much. He's definitely not a match for the Master of the Law. I need to return to the demon realm and report this to the demon ancestor. As for what to do here, I'll leave it to you. Black Dragon subconsciously looked towards the distance. A series of explosions sounded out. It was clear that the white-robed man was locked in battle with the Master of the Law. Time is of the essence, so I won't stay here any longer. The God Realm might have already made a move. I need to hurry back. It'll be bad for us if the Xinyuan sword ends up in the hands of those sanctimonious people. With that, a spiritual formation appeared beneath Qiuhai's feet. Then he disappeared. What should we do? Great Emperor Yonghe and company couldn't help but ask after Qiuhai left. The operation had ended in failure. Now that the entire three realms knew that they had betrayed the three realms, they could only bind themselves even more tightly to Black Dragon and company. Let's take it one step at a time. Did you leave your informant behind? Black Dragon shook his head. He was no longer as confident in taking back the three realms after witnessing the white-robed man's strength. Leave him behind. No one will notice that Zhao Zizhao is one of us. That's enough. Let's go back. Waving his hand weakly, Black Dragon inexplicably cast a few glances in the direction of Pawn City. The Master of the Law must win. The sudden civil war caught Yi Zichen and company completely off guard. However, the good news was that the casualties weren't too severe. What's more, the people in the subdimension were extremely excited after learning about the Yellow Emperor. Inside a palace, the upper echelons of the immortal region's sacred lands sat within the palace, but Yi Zichen sat at the very center. He held the Xinyuan sword and looked at the people around him expressionlessly. When the people around him felt his gaze, they all lowered their heads inexplicably. To be honest, Yi Zichen did not have a very good impression of the immortal region. This was especially true after he received those pieces of memories. His favorable impression of the immortal region was practically negative. May I know what business do you have here? My small temple can't accommodate so many great gods like you. Yi Zichen laughed mockingly. The expressions of everyone else in the room stiffened. Fortunately, Serene spoke up to break the silence. Brother Yellow Emperor, why do you say that? We've naturally come here to congratulate you. Stop calling me Brother Yellow Emperor. I have my own name, Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled. Yellow Emperor, how can you speak to Big Brother Serene like that? Said a man with a hooked nose. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes at him, then understood what was going on. I didn't think that you, who could only stand on the side back then, have the right to sit now? Were you lecturing me just now? Could it be that you think that you're on equal footing with me, just because you can sit? A faint pressure was released from Yi Zichen's body. The man with the aquiline nose wanted to hold on for a bit longer, but in less than a second, he subconsciously stood up from his chair and lowered his head. And you, who said you could sit? People continuously stood up from their chairs. These people were indeed supreme existences in the immortal region. However, they were merely a bunch of kids in front of the Yellow Emperor. Now, that's what it felt like back then. Yi Zichen nodded with a satisfied smile. Why didn't Fushi and my juniors come over? Fushi hasn't been in the sacred land recently. Zhuanqiu and company have stayed behind to guard the sacred land in case the demons launch a sneak attack, Swearin replied. Yi Zichen nodded. You're still so cautious even after so long, just like how you were back then. Yi Zichen laughed mockingly. Hearing that, Swearin's expression changed. He knew very well what Yi Zichen was referring to when he said cautious. He really did remember everything. Brother Yellow Emperor, I'll say it one last time. My name is Yi Zichen, and not the Yellow Emperor you speak of. Of course, I'm not the sort of person to bring up the past. Let bygones be bygones. I don't want to bicker with you guys, nor do I care. Brother Yellow Emperor is righteous, Swearin smiled. Don't flatter me. To be honest, I don't have any good feelings towards the immortal region at all. Do you understand? Yi Zichen shook his head and stood up from his chair, then pointed towards the entrance of the palace. This time, I'm giving face to Brother Flame Emperor and allowing you to sit here for a while. Now that you've seen it and congratulated me, let's go. Do you want me to personally send you guys out? Xian Yuan's sword's sheath trembled intensely. When the surrounding people noticed the change in Xian Yuan's sword, they shrunk their necks, cupped their hands towards Yi Zichen, then left. Although you've awakened after reincarnation, you're no longer old friends. Flame Emperor, who was wearing a white robe, walked in front of Yi Zichen and patted him on the shoulder. I wasn't able to stop Brother Yellow Emperor from reincarnating back then. This time, I will definitely protect you even if I die a horrible death. Little friend Yi, please don't bury the Yellow Emperor's name and Xian Yuan's sword's name. Don't worry about that. I also have to tell you this on behalf of the Yellow Emperor. He has never regretted becoming brothers with you. Flame Emperor's eyes instantly moistened when he heard that. He nodded heavily, patted Yi Zichen's shoulder, then directly left the subdimension without saying anything else. The Yellow Emperor and Flame Emperor had a rather good relationship back then, but Xian Yuan Sword's artifact spirit, Xian Yuan Xiang, also came out. Yi Zichen glanced at her and suddenly felt a bit nostalgic. It's been a long time since we last met. Why are you looking at me like that? Xian Yuan Xiang subconsciously took a step back when she felt Yi Zichen's gaze. Oh yeah, you should remember everything now, right? You should have recalled all the memories of these few reincarnations, right? Yi Zichen nodded without denying anything. I remember everything. Chapter 701. Emissaries of the Divine Realm seeing Yi Zichen nod. Xian Yuan Xiang hurried over and asked in anticipation. Since you've awakened, who is the person that appears the most in your memory? Is it me? You will bring me along to gallop across the battlefield. That's for sure. That's definitely the case. Xian Yuan Xiang nodded with certainty. Yi Zichen looked at him plainly, but did not say anything. He didn't know if he had awakened, but the moment he took out the Xian Yuan sword, he felt that a lot of memories had suddenly appeared in his mind. Different times and backgrounds, almost similar silhouettes, experiencing completely different but roughly similar stories. What made him even more concerned was that in these memories, there was always a person following him, or rather, these memories all revolved around the same person. They had never talked about romance, but it was better than romance. Su Yan, regardless of which life he was in, it seemed like there would always be a new beauty by his side. Su Yan, who had always been by his side, had always been quietly protecting him, even if she had to sacrifice her life for him, even if she had to go against the world for him, even if she knew that in that life, she was nothing in his eyes, even if she knew that in that life, his heart could not contain her. She was still by his side, never abandoning him. However, from beginning to end, Yi Zichen's heart had never once stopped on her. Many people had appeared in his memories, but Su Yan was the only one who had always been by his side. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as an admission. Xian Yuan Xiang pursed her lips and danced around the room. From time to time, she would strike a killing pose. Sister Xiang, stop playing. He weakly called out Xian Yuan Xiang's name. Xian Yuan Xiang quickly ran over and couldn't help but mutter when she saw his listless appearance. It wasn't easy for me to come out. All right. The sudden awakening indeed requires a lot of memories. It's quite tiring. Hurry up and rest. All right. Yi Zichen nodded, then returned to his room. Shohai and Black Dragon are both here. What is that guy doing? I can't see him at all. Yi Zichen couldn't help but mutter as he laid on the bed. However, he wasn't too worried. He was confident in the white-robed man's strength. Su Yan. Yi Zichen clicked open the chat window with Su Yan. After receiving the memories of reincarnation, Yi Zichen's feelings towards Su Yan had changed subtly. This kind of feeling was hard to express in words. If he really had to say it, should it be an apology? Yi Zichen didn't know either. Yi Zichen had wanted to take this opportunity to say a few words to Su Yan, but after thinking about it for a long time, he deleted everything he'd typed. He quietly closed the chat box and saw that the red envelope server had exploded again. Immortality Peach Fairy. I heard that the God Realm sent a special envoy to the Heavenly Court. Canopy Marshal. Really? How come Old Pig didn't know? God of Thunder. It seems to be true. When the envoy came, the Jade Emperor personally went to welcome him. Mother of Electricity, the person above is right. Immortal Chijiao. That's strange. The heavenly world hasn't had a special envoy for tens of thousands of years. Why did they suddenly come to the heavenly court? Wu Gang. Do you think it could be that light? Immortality Peach Fairy. Very likely. Mother of Lightning. That light was too scary. I felt my body tremble from afar, and I couldn't help but want to bow down to it. Profound Lady of the Nine Heavens. The Queen Mother ordered that no one is allowed to discuss the envoy in private. Anyone who disobeys will have their salary deducted for 1,000 years. Mother of Lightning. Canopy Marshal. Immortal Chijiao. Yi Zichen didn't read the messages in the group very clearly, but from what he could read, they seemed to be talking about someone from the God Realm coming to the Heavenly Court. The reason they came to the Heavenly Court was for a certain light. I shouldn't be able to get any more information from the Red Envelope server, but that doesn't mean I can't get any information from the other groups. Team Group. Yi Zichen. Everyone, does anyone know what's going on with the God Realm Special Envoy? Canopy Marshal. Sky Sovereign. You actually don't know? A special envoy from the God Realm came to the Heavenly Court. The Jade Emperor personally went to welcome him an hour ago. God of Thunder. You said you don't know just now, but why are you saying it now? God of Fortune. Marshal, you're mostly right. A special envoy from the God Realm did come an hour ago. Old Lord Taishang. You guys didn't say it in that group, but came over here instead? Aren't you afraid that this old man will take a screenshot and report you guys? Yi Zichen. Old Lord, stop messing around. As one of the 3 pure ones, you definitely know more secret information, right? Old Lord Taishang. E, followed by a row of you-know-what emojis. Old Lord Taishang. E. Yi Zichen didn't think too much about it, and directly sent him a red packet of 100,000 cultivation experience. Now that the food and clothing industries in the Heavenly Court were doing very well, sending snacks like before was no longer very useful. Ding dong. Old Lord Taishang received your red packet. Old Lord Taishang. Young man, you really know how to do things. Then I'll tell you some information out of goodwill. Yi Zichen, stop wasting time. Hurry up and say it. Old Lord Taishang. I heard that the special envoy came here for a divine artifact, which is the ray of light that suddenly appeared in the immortal region an hour ago. I believe everyone felt that ray of light, right? It was filled with a majestic aura. It was definitely an ancient Emperor Divine artifact. God of Fortune. I felt it from afar. Third Prince Neza. I felt it too. It was pretty close to me. Erlang Shun. You guys should have felt it, but the pressure feels very familiar. Yi Zichen. You two can actually play with your phones. It seems like you guys had a great time as captives in the Demon Realm. Erlang Shun. Then look, I'm so cool. Neza, send them a photo of us. Third Prince Neza. No problem. Ding dong. Not long later, a photo of Yang Jian and Neza appeared on the screen. The background seemed to be the City Lord's Manor in Maple City. In the photo, the two of them were lying on their sides like lords with people serving them around them. How are they captives? They're guests of honor. Yi Zichen, you guys are having a great time here, but don't forget about your duties. You two have a mission to complete. Erlang Shun, we both know that. We definitely won't get in the way. Third Prince Neza, Sky Sovereign, don't worry. I definitely won't get in the way. I'll supervise Yang Jian. Erlang Shun. Hey, you heartless little thing. Laozi is clearly the one supervising you. Third Prince Neza. I'm the one supervising you. The two of them were about to start fighting. Yi Zichen shook his head helplessly, then sent a message on the screen, then closed the group. Golden Light. Divine Artifact. If I'm not mistaken, the God Realm Special Envoy should have come from my Xinyuan sword. I didn't expect the God Realm to act so quickly and directly send someone over the moment I unsheathed Xinyuan sword. I believe that the God Realm's Special Envoy will come over before long. Chapter 702. Sky Blanketing Formation. Yang Jian and Neza, the two living treasures in the group, started to argue, while the others cheered unhappily. Yi Zichen silently put his phone back on the bed, but he couldn't help but think about the Yellow Emperor being forced to reincarnate. Hey, little fellow. The old dragon god's call sounded out in his mind. Yi Zichen rubbed the ring in his hand, then entered it with his consciousness. The old dragon god did not transform into his dragon form within the dragon god space. He wore a golden dragon robe and sat in the center of the empty space. I sense an aura from your body. It's very familiar. You're talking about Xinyuan sword, right? Yi Zichen smiled. He more or less knew about Xinyuan sword's birth. Rumors said that when the Yellow Emperor obtained Xinyuan sword, the dragon race had forged it for him. So it's that the old dragon god understood. That means you're the Yellow Emperor from back then? Yes, Yi Zichen replied. The old dragon god fell silent. Seeing that the dragon god didn't say anything, Yi Zichen didn't say anything either, and merely sat down cross-legged beside the old dragon god. After awakening the Yellow Emperor's memories, Yi Zichen could feel his strength increase steadily. However, since the memories came too suddenly, he needed some time to sort them out. The old dragon god subdimension flowed much faster than the outside world. Even if the dragon god didn't call him, he would still come here. Time ticked by. Approximately 14 to 16 hours later, the old dragon god woke Yi Zichen up. There seems to be someone looking for you outside. Hurry up and leave. Also, hurry up and send me back to the dragon race. Please. Yi Zichen had never encountered such a sincere request from the old dragon god before. However, before he could say anything, his consciousness was chased out of his body by the old dragon god. You're awake. The moment Yi Zichen's consciousness returned to his body, he heard a deep voice beside his ear. He subconsciously turned his head and saw a face. Oh, F***CK, you scared me. It was a face that was nearly identical to Yi Zichen's. The only difference was that the white-robed man seemed to have weathered a lot more than Yi Zichen. You're finally willing to remove the mosaic on your face? Actually, Yi Zichen had already anticipated this situation. The system was actually him. However, he did not understand why this system would appear in the world he was currently living in. At that moment, Yi Zichen suddenly noticed that the white-robed man's stomach was covered in blood. Injured? It's just a small wound. The white-robed man shook his head and smiled, indicating that there was no need for him to worry. You little fellow, you really know how to cause trouble for me. Didn't I tell you that I would take out the Xinyuan sword in the immortal region? You don't know the situation at that time, and there's nothing I can do. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. I wanted to scare them, but you didn't come back after so long, so I had no choice but to take out Xinyuan's sword. Sorry, I ran into some trouble in the middle. The white-robed man narrowed his eyes and looked out of the window. Outside the immortal region, the original Pool City had been destroyed beyond recognition. In the courtyard of the original Pool City's City Lord Mansion, there was a swing scattered on the ground. Not far from it lay a lowly girl. Karma coils around me, and I've also severed the laws of this plane. Seems like I've transcended beyond the Wu Wang realm. The white-robed man thought to himself, but he did not feel too sad about it. From a day he chose to find Yi Zichen, he did not think about transcending. Yi Zichen did not notice the change in the white-robed man's expression. There's nothing to be sorry about. We'll just deal with whatever comes our way. Don't blame yourself too much. This might just be fate. But what did you do to Xinyuan's sword when it was with you? How did it become so strong? The title of the #1 primordial divine artifact isn't just for show. When you get to the God realm and see the divine artifact ranking, then you'll understand just how strong Xin Yuan's sword is. The white-robed man pursed his lips and shrugged. A complete Xin Yuan sword will definitely attract the attention of the higher-ups. It seems like I'll have to clean up your mess for you. The Three Realms. Yi Zichen followed the white-robed man out of the subdimension and saw that Xin Yuan Xiang had already arrived outside the immortal region and had cleared out an empty space of around 100 square meters. It's all taken care of. Thank you. The white-robed man nodded towards Xin Yuan Xiang, then walked to the center of the empty space. At the same time, he took out 9 stones and placed them on the ground. When the last stone was thrown to the ground, the pile of ordinary stones suddenly shone brightly. A ray of light shot into the sky, then spread out and covered the entire 3 realms. What is he doing? Yi Zichen asked in confusion. At that moment, the white-robed man's body shone with the same light as the ray of light, and Yi Zichen could faintly feel his life force rapidly depleting. Gradually, the white-robed man's hair turned from black to white, while his face also seemed to age several tens of years. Cough! The white-robed man coughed up a mouthful of blood. At that moment, Yi Zichen could no longer stand it and wanted to stop him, but Xin Yuan Xiang grabbed him. Don't go. He's going to die if this continues. Just what is he trying to do? Yi Zichen glared at Xin Yuan Xiang, then roared at the white-robed man, who had his back towards him. Do you want to die? Hurry up and come back. The white-robed man turned around and smiled warmly at Yi Zichen, but the light around him grew even brighter. What exactly do you want to do? No matter what you do, you never discuss it with me. Are you still me or not? You want to cover the sky. Xin Yuan Xiang, who held on to Yi Zichen, couldn't help but sigh. The upper 3 realms will definitely notice when the complete Xin Yuan sword is unsheathed. He's doing this to hide the secrets of the 3 realms from the heavens. That way, he can ensure that no one will be able to locate the Xin Yuan sword in the future. Then he must... Do you think it's that easy to cover the sky? Covering the mysteries of heaven is similar to peeping into the mysteries of heaven. There's a price to pay. I don't need him to pay the price. Yi Zichen, please be more mature. Xin Yuan Xiang suddenly rebuked. If it wasn't for the fact that he had no other choice, would he have chosen this path? He was a ruler. Even in the upper 3 realms, he was in existence at the top of the pyramid, but he still chose this path. Once the sky shrouding formation is set up, it cannot be canceled. Instead of saying that he doesn't need it, he might as well pray for him to survive the formation. Yi Zichen couldn't help but fall silent when he heard Xin Yuan Xiang's words. Indeed, if it wasn't for the fact that he had no other choice, he wouldn't have chosen this path. Yi Zichen looked at the white-robed man, who'd aged dozens of years. He silently prayed, but at that moment, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared in the sky. Her eyes were bloodshot as she stared at the white-robed man in the middle of the formation. Chapter 703. Parallel Space, Are You Done Being Crazy? The familiar, angry rebuke caused the withered body of the white-robed man, standing in the middle of the formation, to tremble. Coming. The white-robed man's voice was a little hoarse. The woman who had suddenly appeared bit her lips tightly and glared at him fiercely. Soon after, she raised her hand and slapped his back. Waves of pure life force flowed through the woman's palm and into the white-robed man's body. The white-robed man, who was about to become a mummy, returned to his original appearance after receiving this life force. Fortunately, you came in time. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult. The white-robed man scratched his head. The woman beside him said with unconcealable anger between her brows, Difficult? If I hadn't come, I think you would have risked your life to lay down this heaven-shrouding formation, right? The white-robed man merely smiled and did not reply. Gu Zichen, I've seen through you. You disregarded everything and traveled to this parallel plane, plotting and scheming so that the you of this plane could make a comeback. But even if he succeeds in the end, do you think they can come back? The woman raised her almond-shaped eyes. This isn't the first plane you've come to. You've also done your best to help him in the previous few planes. But in the end, didn't they all walk the same old path? I've told you before, fate is fate. Why do you insist on going against fate? Since there's a chance, we should at least give it a try. If we don't try, who knows what the future holds? Little M.O., let me tell you, the chances of turning the tables in this life are very high, right? The white-robed man chuckled and walked out from the center of the formation. Yi Zichen, who was standing outside, was completely stunned. The main reason he was stunned was because of the woman beside that guy. Zhuo, what are you looking at me for? Zhuo glared at Yi Zichen and snorted. What's your relationship with Zhuo? Friends, Yi Zichen answered subconsciously. As expected, another friend. Zhuo wrinkled her nose and snorted, then glanced meaningfully at Gu Zichen. Sensing Zhuo's bitter gaze, Gu Zichen smiled sheepishly and walked up to Yi Zichen. What's going on? Yi Zichen was a bit confused by the situation. I told you to date Zhuo before, but you rejected me. Do you still remember? Yi Zichen nodded. Just now, you heard her call me Gu Zichen. In that case, I'll give you a brief rundown of my background. Gu Zichen took a deep breath. I'm guessing that you must suspect that I'm from the future, but that's not the case. I'm the same person who lives in the parallel plane with you. Parallel? Six-dimensional space? You can understand it that way. Gu Zichen nodded. I went to such lengths to pave the way for you, to help you solve all your problems. But in truth, it was all for the sake of the final result. What was the result? A new world. Gu Zichen's expression grew solemn. You might not know this, but all the parallel planes are heading towards the same path, which is the path of the Devil Realm's domination of the Six Realms. There might be a few planes that haven't completely collapsed, but there's no way to reverse the general direction. It's the same for the plane I'm in. I don't quite understand, Yi Zichen replied. It's normal that you can't understand what I'm telling you all of a sudden. But even if you don't understand, you have to remember what I'm about to say next. With that, Gu Zichen concealed the area around him and Yi Zichen. Outside, Zhuo pouted the entire time and stared resentfully at Gu Zichen's back. Of all the planes I know, your plane is the only one that hasn't been ruled by the Devil Realm. In theory, as long as you could overthrow the rule of the Demon Realm, then the history of the other planes would be completely rewritten. Of course, in a situation where the other planes are being ruled, the chances of you turning the tables are slim. Gu Zichen grabbed Yi Zichen by the shoulder. But don't be discouraged. At least from the looks of it now, we haven't taken the path of the demon world's domination. Damn, how stressful. That was Yi Zichen's true reaction. What was going on? Would the demon world rule over the six realms in the future? Didn't they say that the upper realm of the God realm was the strongest? What parallel planes were they talking about? What the hell was going on? But from the looks of it, the white-robed man wasn't faking it. There was no need for him to tease Yi Zichen. Then what do you need me to do? Yi Zichen asked. After an hour, the white-robed man finally removed the seals around them. Yi Zichen was very depressed. He pursed his lips and knitted his eyebrows together. Don't take the problem too seriously. Be more optimistic. I believe that you have the ability to change history. The white-robed man patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. The white-robed man patted Yi Zichen on the shoulder. That's right, but he wasn't confident either. No matter which plane it was, he was filled with hope for it. But the final result was always barely satisfactory. Can I ask one last question? Yi Zichen suddenly looked up. The white-robed man nodded. Go ahead. They're all dead, right? They're all dead, right? The white-robed man suddenly fell silent. After a long while, he nodded. Don't think about rising to the top in a single step. Don't be impulsive. Just do everything step by step, and you will definitely be able to grasp the opportunity. Do you understand? I understand. Yi Zichen clenched his fist, then walked to the side with clenched teeth. The white-robed man stretched lazily. At that moment, Zhuo also walked over. It's been hard on you. Don't get emotional. If you really feel like it's been hard on me, then marry me. Zhuo stared at the white-robed man. Zhuo stared at the white-robed man. Not long after, she pouted and said, Forget it. It's boring. I'm really sorry. The white-robed man smiled wryly. Zhuo had been by his side for several tens of thousands of years. The two of them relied on each other to survive in that desperate situation. If it was anyone else in this situation, they would have developed feelings for the other party, but The moment he saw her die in front of him, his heart could no longer contain anyone else. "Why are you apologizing to me?" Mo punched the white-robed man with a smile. "You've decided? Are you really going to take this step? We didn't choose to take this path in the previous planes. Didn't you say that the success rate was too low? I have no other way out. I can only give it my all." The white-robed man clenched his fist. "Then I'll accompany you," Mo replied with a smile. "Actually, the white-robed man looked at her, who was smiling sweetly in astonishment. This mission could be said to be extremely dangerous. One more person means one more chance of winning. If both of us are defeated and die together, it can be considered my win." Mo pursed her lips and smiled, then turned to Yizichin. "Treat Mo better, got it?" With that, Mo and the white-robed man disappeared from the space at the same time. Approximately 15 minutes later, Yizichin took a deep breath and said to Xinyuan Xiang, "Let's go, Xinyuan Xiang. Let's go back." Chapter 704. Half a year, half a year. Everything seemed to be peaceful for the past half a year. The demons stationed themselves in the various cities outside the immortal region did not attack any of the three realms. Without the pressure from the demons, the heavenly court and the underworld returned to normal. During this half a year, with great Emperor Qingming's help, the subdimension left behind by the white-robed man also returned to normal. The civilians seemed to have accepted the existence of the dimension and started to treat it as their home. As for Yizichin stood atop a towering mountain peak, his body glowing with a faint golden light. A ball of cold fire danced around him. The fire was a beast fire. The winged dragon, Lil Lon, had shed it a while ago. Boom! At that moment, Yizichin's spiritual pressure suddenly increased by several times. The expression of Xinyuan Xiang, who was guarding him, changed as she floated to his side. "You broke through." Yizichin opened his eyes. Buzz, a wave of spiritual energy spread out in all directions, cutting the mountain in the distance into two. Yizichin, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, let out a sigh, then stood up and nodded. "I broke through. I did. From a mid-stage sky immortal to a half-step divine king in half a year. Your speed is truly astonishing." Xinyuan Xiang couldn't help but chuckle. She was happy to see Yizichin become stronger. The stronger he became, the more power he could use with Xinyuan's sword. I merely took advantage of being reincarnated. Yizichin shook his head with a smile. He did not think much of his own strength. Even the white-robed man's ruler's strength was powerless against the future demons. So what could he do with his current strength? During this period of time, Yizichin had asked about the levels of strength above the supreme level. Earth Supreme, Sky Supreme, Sage, Ruler, Transcendence. These levels were further divided into 9 stages, and each stage would cause one's strength to increase by leaps and bounds. Yizichin had wanted to ask the Wish God about the strength of the Wish God. However, no matter how he tried to summon the 7 stones, the Wish God did not appear. Of course, that wasn't even mentioning the Wish God. The white-robed man was a ruler-level expert. Although Yizichin did not know what stage he was at, it was possible that he was already a supreme existence. Xinyuan Xiang glanced at Yizichin. She knew exactly what he was thinking. She patted Yizichin's shoulder with a smile. "Don't give yourself too much pressure. He must have told you a lot before he left. There should still be enough time." "Probably." With that, Yizichin subconsciously took out his phone. Over the past 6 months, apart from consolidating his own strength, he had spent most of his time gathering intelligence from the Heavenly Court and Underworld chat group on his phone. Unsurprisingly, the news in the red envelope server never went through a low period. As long as you opened the social media app, you would see 99+. In the past half a year, when Yizichin looked at the group, it was either a great deity successfully getting a girlfriend, or someone's child ran away from home and asked for help in finding the child. Either way, the group was very lively, but there was no useful information. "Please don't give me something useful," Yizichin muttered to himself, then glanced at the messages in the group. Not even a second later, his expression froze. Immortality, Peach Fairy. The latest news from the God Realm's envoy is out. God of Thunder, what news? Canopy Marshal. The God Realm's envoy is freeloading in the heavenly court, and it's all rare stuff. I old pig am so envious. Mother of Lightning, don't change the topic. What news did the God Realm's envoy say? Immortality Peach Fairy. I heard it from the Queen Mother. I heard that the God Realm's envoy is going to descend to the lower realms to find that divine artifact. Barefoot Immortal. Is that true? Yu Lao. He's really going to find the divine artifact? Wind Catching Ears. Oh yeah, Immortality Peach Fairy is speaking the truth. Canopy Marshal. Since Wind Catching Ears said that, then it's definitely true. God of Thunder. Is the divine artifact finally going to appear? But aren't the demons guarding the immortal region? How is the God Realm's envoy going to get the divine artifact? Wu Gang. Will the God Realm's envoy be like the demons? The envoy might be in a good mood after getting the divine artifact and directly destroy the demons. Erlang Shun. Hurry up and destroy them. I've been a spy for long enough. Third Prince Neza. The one above is right. Announcement. Immortality Peach Fairy has recklessly spread the secrets of the heavenly court. She will face the wall for 100 years to see what happens. If anyone in the group spreads news about the envoy, they will be expelled from the heavenly court and stripped of their celestial position. Profound Lady of the Nine Heavens. You all saw the announcement, right? Good luck. For a full 15 minutes, no one spoke in the group. God of Thunder. So cruel. Barefoot Immortal. Yeah. She's such a cute little girl. Third Prince Neza. Immortality Peachijia. Wait for me. I'll definitely save you when I return to the heavenly court. Pagoda bearing Heavenly Kingly. Everyone, stop talking about the envoy. Let's end it here. After the members of the group complained for a while, they all turned over the page. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and found Immortality Peach Fairy. When is the God Realm's envoy descending? Big Brother Sky Sovereign. You have to help little sister. Immortality Peach Fairy replied with a sullen expression. I will definitely stand up for you, but you have to tell me when the special envoy descended to the lower realm. About an hour ago. All right, I got it. Announcement. Immortality Peach Fairy's punishment has been pardoned. Anyone who dares to cause trouble in my territory will be kicked out. Yi Zichen posted the announcement. It only took a few seconds for the members of the group to realize that the announcement was made by Yi Zichen. People continuously praised Yi Zichen for his dominance, while others envied Immortality Peach Fairy for having such a good older brother. However, Yi Zichen was in no mood to look at all that. His mind was filled with thoughts of the God Realm's envoy's movements. He descended an hour ago. Doesn't that mean that the God Realm's envoy will arrive soon? Yi Zichen subconsciously tightened his grip on Xian Yuan's sword. Is it going to be the same as last time? Daddy. At that moment, Lil Tiantian ran over on the winged dragon, Lil Lan, with Soul Pearl, Yuan, and Tenyuan beside her. Lil Lan and Tenyuan were supposed to be his mounts and protective treasures, but they were very close to Lil Tiantian. They spent so much time with Tiantian that they forgot about their boss. But that's good, since they can help me take care of Tiantian. Yi Zichen hugged Tiantian in his arms with a smile. Tiantian seemed to have grown up a lot during the past 6 months. Although she was still a little lowly, she at least gave off the feeling of a young girl. Why did you come over here? Yi Zichen doted on his daughter, Tiantian. Big sister's what Mo told me to come and find you. She said that a guest wants to see you. Tiantian giggled. Tiantian giggled, but Yi Zichen, who was holding her, trembled. Chapter 705. People from the Beast region Lil Tiantian blinked in confusion when she felt Yi Zichen's body stiffen. What's wrong, Daddy? Nothing. Tiantian, go back and tell Big Sister Zuemo that Daddy will be there soon. Tell that guest to wait a moment. Yi Zichen placed Tiantian on Lil Blue and rubbed her head. Tiantian blinked, then nodded and left with a giggle. Did the emissary come? Xian Yuan Xiang knew a bit about the God Realm's emissary, so she knew what they were here for. It's very likely. Yi Zichen nodded, then sorted through the messages he saw in the group. The Heavenly Court's group said that the God Realm's emissary descended an hour ago. He should be in the outer region of the immortal region by now. What I don't understand is, how did he find the subdimension? The people from the God Realm definitely have their own methods. Xian Yuan Xiang was rather depressed. At that moment, Xin Yuanxiang's mood was a little gloomy. He clearly remembered how helpless the Yellow Emperor had been when he was forced by the God Realm. If the God Realm's emissaries still used the same methods, then let's go over and take a look. In comparison, Yi Zichen was in a much better state than Xin Yuanxiang. Since the emissary is already here, then I have to go and see him. Yi Zichen arrived at the central courtyard. The central courtyard was usually used for meetings between managers. Those who could enter and leave were either city lords, generals, or sect masters and elders of major factions. Of course, there were also some hidden experts who didn't work in the outer region of the Immortal Region, but were willing to show their strength after the demon's invasion. During the past 6 months, practically everyone in the Immortal Region knew of Yi Zichen's existence. The highest commander of the Great Alliance, the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor, and the peak sect master of the Leisure House. Yi Zichen couldn't help but notice all these titles, but at the same time, the burden on his shoulders also became heavier and heavier. Brother Yi. Xueqi greeted Yi Zichen the moment he entered the central courtyard. He was someone who paid attention to etiquette, so he had been troubled for a long time after learning of Yi Zichen's identity. It was only after the stubborn stone talked him out of it. Tian just told me that there's a guest in the meeting hall who wants to see me. Yes. Xueqi nodded. The other party indeed asked to see you, and he's especially strong. At the very least, he's above me and Rock. Qiu Yuan and Zhou Mo are both in the meeting room right now. I asked Qiu Yuan about their strength, and he said that even he feels pressured. How many people came in total? Yi Zichen frowned. There are quite a number of them, 5 women and 7 men. However, some of them look familiar, as if I've seen them somewhere before. Xueqi frowned, while Yi Zichen's expression froze. He looked familiar. Could it be that he wasn't a special envoy from the Immortal Realm? Yi Zichen nodded at Xueqi, then headed straight for the meeting hall. When he walked into the meeting hall and saw the people here, he finally felt relieved. Boss! The first to pounce on him was the sky-devouring dog, Lil White. Yi Zichen rubbed its hair and looked at everyone in the meeting hall. The great sage, Yuan Hong, Kong Ming, Jail King, Fatty Een, and a senior of the dragon race. Su Yin, Kiki, Lu Lu, Su Zhu, and big sister Su Luer, whose expression was as cold as ice and unapproachable as ever. Why did you guys come? Yi Zichen's heart was filled with joy when he saw them. What? You didn't want me, old son, to come over? The great sage hooked his arm around Yi Zichen's shoulder. I, old son, heard that my bro has established himself as a king, so I brought the people of the Beast region over to congratulate you. Great sage, who did you hear that from? How am I a king? Yi Zichen shrugged with a wry smile. It seems like you guys have recovered from your injuries. Those minor injuries are nothing. I, old son, have 72 transformations, so I naturally have 72 lives. Great sage son twitched his mouth nonchalantly. However, Yi Zichen couldn't help but think back to the scene back then. His name was truly hanging by a thread. What's more, just who was the she that the great sage mentioned? Yi Zichen scratched his head, then looked towards Yuan Hong playfully, while winking at him. Same got in? Yuan Hong raised his eyebrows in confusion. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in annoyance, then repeatedly winked at Su Luer. What's going on? Yuan Hong was like a block of wood, completely unaware of Yi Zichen's meaning. However, Su Zhu shrugged. Su Zhu shrugged. He wants to ask how you and my sis are. My Zhu Jian knows me best. Yi Zichen chuckled. Yi Zichen chuckled. It seems like Big Sister Lu agreed to be with you. Then you too, don't mention it. Yuan Hong frowned. Yuan Hong's face immediately scrunched up at the mention of this. He kept pouring out his grievances. Lu did agree to be with me, but she had a condition. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and pondered over Yuan Hong's troubled expression. It can't be for you to agree, right? Brother Yi, you're right. Say, isn't she screwing people over? Who in the entire Endless Beast region can beat her? Old son. Great sage son suddenly interrupted. Big bro, can you not ruin my plans? Yuan Hong rolled his eyes at the great sage, then put on a sullen expression. Brother Yi, don't you think Su Luer is screwing people over? My man naturally has to be stronger than me. If I can't even beat him, then what's the point of having him? Su Luer's tone was filled with indifference. Yuan Hong twitched his mouth, then retreated to the side like a wronged wife. Don't look at me. Lil Zhu and I are very close. Fatty Ying quickly spoke up when he felt Yi Zichen's gaze, while wrapping his arm around Su Zhu's waist. Su Zhu only struggled for a bit, then ignored him. Yi Zichen looked at Fatty Yin's smug expression. I didn't expect things to be progressing so well. At that moment, Yi Zichen felt someone's gaze on him. Or rather, that gaze had never left him ever since he entered the meeting hall. Su Yan. Yi Zichen's heart was in a mess when it came to her. What's more, after he absorbed all the memories of this reincarnation, his feelings towards Su Yan became even more complicated. Yi Zichen intentionally pretended not to notice her gaze and smiled at the great sage. Great sage, there must be something for you to visit, right? Don't say that it's nothing in this sort of situation. Hey, old son, did come here for something. The great sage squinted his eyes with a smile. I've already cleaned up the demons in the Endless Beast region. Now all that's left is the Immortal region. Then, report. Before he finished, a messenger appeared in the meeting hall. A special envoy from the God Realm has arrived. Yi Zichen's expression drastically changed when he heard that. Chapter 706. Special Envoy Lu Qing. Special Envoy from the God World. The great sage stood up, walked over, and tilted his head at Yi Zichen. Is it the special envoy from the heavenly realm that everyone in the group has been talking about? It should be him. Yi Zichen nodded, but his heart sank. That's strange. I heard from Ba Jie that the envoy from the immortal world is here for a treasure. Why is he here? The great sage scratched his head in confusion. Before long, he noticed Yi Zichen's bitter smile and arched his brows. It can't be. That treasure. Yi Zichen smiled wryly and nodded, then let out a sigh of relief as he looked at the messenger in the meeting hall. How many of them have come? Only one person. It's a woman. She looks very young. She claims to be a special envoy from the God Realm and asked me to inform you. The messenger explained everything in detail. Yi Zichen nodded and gestured for him to leave, then sat down on a chair, lit a cigarette for himself, and puffed on it. Thick smoke puffed out from his mouth. Everyone in the meeting room could feel Yi Zichen's depression. Why are you panicking? Old son, still have so many brothers here. Why would I be afraid of the God Realm's special envoy? The eyes of the great sage flickered with golden light. He was the victorious fighting Buddha of the Buddha realm. In his eyes, it didn't matter if he was a special envoy from the immortal world. If he dared to cause trouble in front of him, he would go up and give him a good beating. Who cared if he could beat him or not? The others agreed with each other, but the strongest person here, Fatty Ying, revealed a troubled expression. As someone from the God Realm, he was even more aware of the strength of the God Realm's special envoy who could descend to the lower realm. He had to be at least a Sky Supreme. The Great Sage and Su Luer were among the strongest in the lower three realms, but in the face of a Sky Supreme expert, they were like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Time passed bit by bit, and a quarter of an hour had passed since the arrival of the God Realm's envoy. We'll have to face it eventually, Yi Zichen thought to himself. At that moment, the bottom of his feet was already filled with burnt cigarette butts. He narrowed his eyes and stood up from his chair. Before he could walk out of the meeting hall, he heard noises coming from outside. You can't go in. Why can't I go in? I've been waiting here for almost half an hour. A slightly displeased voice came from outside the door. The people outside were still trying to stop him when they heard that person speak again. I am a special envoy of the God world. How dare you neglect me like this? Are you not putting my four-direction palace in your eyes? You can't let her in. Yi Zichen didn't go out to greet them. Instead, he returned to his previous seat and sat down. He intentionally put on a tough front and looked ahead with a dark gaze. The other people in the meeting hall also split into two rows. Fatty Ying, Qiu Yuan, the great sage, and Su Luer, who were stronger, naturally sat closer to Yi Zichen. Meanwhile, Xin Yuan Xiang stood beside Yi Zichen and looked towards the entrance of the meeting hall as if she was facing a great enemy. Hearing Yi Zichen's words, the waiter outside the door stepped aside. Not long after, a young girl in a blue dress appeared in front of the meeting hall. Lu Jing. The first person to speak up when the girl entered the meeting hall was not Yi Zichen, but Xia Kiki, who sat furthest away. Xia Kiki jumped up in surprise and reached out her hand towards Lu Jing. She grabbed Lu Jing's hand with both hands and jumped up. It really is you. Xia Kiki and Lu Jing were rather good friends back in the modern realm, and she had even begged Yi Zichen to revive her. Lu Jing's eyes also lit up with joy when she saw Xia Kiki. However, she quickly suppressed her joy and frowned, then pushed Xia Kiki away with a look of disgust. Xia Kiki, I didn't expect to see you here. Lu Jing, what are you doing? Xia Kiki's face was filled with a wronged expression. She simply couldn't understand why her good friend would treat her like that. Ha! I am the 17th Highness of the Four Direction Palace, and I serve His Majesty. I came down as a special envoy. You and I were indeed good friends back in a modern realm, but that's all in the past. Right now, our statuses are very different, so it's better for us to respect each other. That way, you won't be embarrassed. Lu Jing's tone was as merciless could be. Everyone in the meeting hall frowned. The hot-tempered great sage leapt up from his chair and cursed with a grimace. Kiddo, you have quite a temper, huh? Great sage son. Lu Jing raised her eyebrows with a smile. This has nothing to do with you. I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. I came here to find Yi Zichen, so please move aside. If you want to find my bro, then you'll have to get past me first. Don't. Others might not understand Lu Jing's difficulties, but Yi Zichen did. He wanted to stop her, but it was already too late. Great Sage Sun raised his Rui Jingu Bang and swung it towards Lu Jing without even thinking. Lu Qing merely snorted indifferently. She raised her fair hands and grabbed the Great Sage's Jingu Bang, her face expressionless. Big bro, Yuan Hong exclaimed, then prepared to attack Lu Jing as well. Su Luer was the same. Snowflakes drifted down from the sky. Do you think you guys are my match? Lu Jing couldn't help but snicker. She didn't know that everyone present was someone with a temper in the three realms. Seeing this little girl being so arrogant, who could endure it? Bing! Everyone stopped, seeing that they were truly about to get angry. Yi Zichen instantly appeared in the middle of them and separated them. Then he grabbed Lu Jing's arm and frowned. Come with me. The two of them disappeared from the room side by side. Only then did everyone in the room look at each other. What's going on? Everyone else shook their heads in confusion. Yuan Hong snorted, so cocky. How arrogant. I really want to poke a hole in him with my stick. Just you? Su Lu was much more rational in comparison. That girl's strength is far above yours and mine. I believe that Great Sage Sun should be able to sense it more clearly. Indeed, Great Sage Sun nodded. He was proud, but not arrogant. Just now, the girl had blocked his attack with her bare hands. That alone was enough to tell how strong she was. When the Great Sage thought about how calm he looked, he couldn't help but feel angry. The God Realm's envoy is truly extraordinary. But wait until Old Sun breaks through. It was obvious that the Great Sage was very displeased that he was taught a lesson by a little girl. Only Fatty Ian let out a long sigh and subtly wiped away the sweat on his forehead. It's fortunate that they didn't fight. If they really did, all of us together wouldn't be a match for that girl. Chapter 707. News from Lu Jing. Yi Zichen dragged Lu Jing out of the meeting hall. Many people in the central courtyard stopped to greet him when they saw him. However, when they saw that he was actually holding the envoy's hand, many people in the courtyard began to wonder, just who is this leader of theirs? He actually knows the God Realm's envoy. You're hurting me. Lu Jing pouted and let go of Yi Zichen's hand after they arrived at a fake mountain in the central courtyard, then started to pinch her fair arm. Yi Zichen, don't be too cocky. I'm the God Realm's envoy. Even if we were really close in the modern realm, you can't go against your superior. Stop pretending. Your Majesty can't see this side. Lu Jing frowned. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes speechlessly. Lu Jing frowned. What are you talking about? What pretending? The lower three realms have already been sealed by the sky blanketing formation. The upper three realms have no way of spying on the situation here. Are you telling the truth? Lu Jing blinked, then closed her eyes and muttered something that Yi Zichen couldn't understand. As I thought, that's amazing. With that, she leaped in Yi Zichen's arms and leaned against his chest with a look of longing. I really missed you. Yi Zichen felt her tremble in his arms. He subconsciously wrapped his arms around her waist, then patted her shoulder. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Who hasn't? For a full half an hour, Lu Jing and Yi Zichen did not say anything. They merely hugged each other. Lu Jing's shirt was already wet from her tears. Nobody knew what she had been through during that period of time. All Yi Zichen could do was become her outlet and let her vent all of her sadness and longing. Let go of me, Lu Jing muttered softly. Lu Jing, who was in his arms, muttered softly. Yi Zichen subconsciously let go of her and looked at her with a warm smile. Lu Jing blushed when she saw Yi Zichen's wet chest. How dare you, Yi Zichen? You actually dared to make the God Realm's envoy cry. Lord Envoy, I'm definitely going to report this to His Majesty and get him to punish you by sending you to the God Realm to be a minor for 1,000 years. Wah, this lowly one is terrified. Please be magnanimous and let this lowly one off. Yi Zichen bowed and begged for mercy with a terrified expression. When Lu Jing saw that, she couldn't help but smile. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Then I will reluctantly forgive you. Thank you, my lord. With that, both Yi Zichen and Lu Jing couldn't help but laugh. Knowing that the three realms had been concealed by the heaven-shrouding array, Lu Jing also removed all her disguises. It was as if everything had returned to the modern realm when she grabbed Yi Zichen's phone to read the unfinished book. It doesn't seem like there are many updates. Lying on the lawn, Lu Jing rested her chin on her left hand and scrolled through her phone's interface with her right hand. All of them have stopped updating. I'm so angry. With that, Lu Jing sat up straight on the grass and chucked the phone to Yi Zichen's side. You're not going to watch anymore? Yi Zichen asked. There's nothing to see. Lu Jing pouted. I thought there would be a lot of updates since I haven't seen them for so long. Is that so? Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. The modern world had already been frozen, so naturally the updates had stopped. Thinking about this, he felt a little depressed. He didn't know when he would be able to return to the modern world. To be honest, Yi Zichen preferred to live in the modern realm rather than here, even though he hated life in this world so much at that time. What's wrong? Not in a good mood? Lu Jing tilted her head and asked suspiciously. It's nothing. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile, then looked at Lu Jing. Oh yeah, why did you descend this time? For you, of course. Lu Jing's expression suddenly darkened. Half a year ago, the God Realm suddenly felt a strange pressure. When the pressure appeared, His Majesty called all of our highnesses and stewards over. One of the stewards suspected that it was the Xianyuan sword, an ancient divine artifact. When I heard it, I thought it must be related to you, so I asked His Majesty for permission to descend to the mortal world. At that time, His Majesty didn't agree, so I had to expend a lot of effort to come down. Lu Jing pouted her small mouth and snorted. I'm telling you, it's a good thing I came down. If the other highnesses came down, then you might have already become a prisoner in the God Realm. But even if you are a prisoner, I will save you, Lu Jing muttered to herself. She muttered this to herself, but given Yi Zichen's strength, he could naturally hear her murmur. Yi Zichen felt a warmth in his heart, then patted her head. Then I have to thank you properly. Tisk, Lu Jing rolled her eyes. But don't get too full of yourself. The Four Directions Palace isn't the only force in the upper three realms. The Xianyuan sword, the #1 divine artifact, is a treasure that anyone would be jealous of. I know that, Yi Zichen nodded. Yi Zichen nodded. Oh yeah, you've already been in the lower realm for half a year. Why did you choose to find me now? I came to the lower realm to make it impossible for others to come down, and I never thought of taking the Xianyuan sword. Lu Jing shrugged and said, What's more, don't you feel it? Your realm seems to lack the existence of the laws. That's what I've always been curious about, so I've been investigating it. The laws. It might be too much to tell you. You can't even come into contact with the laws with your current strength. Wow, you're seriously looking down on me. Yi Zichen opened his mouth wide. Yi Zichen opened his mouth wide in an exaggerated manner. This girl didn't dare to act so cocky in the modern realm. I'm just telling the truth, Lu Jing shrugged. You really can't come into contact with the laws at your current level. Even the Jade Emperor and the Great Sacred Emperor, equaling heavens of the three realms, are only barely able to come into contact with the laws. All right, I won't ask about such a deep topic, but you still haven't told me why. I originally wanted to return after staying in the Heavenly Court for a year. At most, I'll just treat it as if I didn't complete the mission and get punished. After a year, even if His Majesty sends someone down, they definitely won't be able to find the exact location of the Xinyuan sword. Lu Jing smiled as if she was saying something very normal, but Yi Zichen was very touched. However, Yi Zichen was very touched. He had heard from Chui 12 that the Four-Direction Palace's Majesty's punishment was rather severe. However, before Yi Zichen could feel anything, Lu Jing's following words caused him to shudder. Just now, I received a message from Brother 12. Qiuhai from the demon realm said that the demons have already sent someone down to steal the Xianyuan sword. What? That's nothing, Lu Jing smiled. If it was a normal envoy, then they would normally be of the Sky Supreme level. I wouldn't care too much about that. But from what Brother 12 said, the envoy from the demon realm is... Chapter 708. Unlocking. Zichen Ji, are you asleep? Someone knocked on the door. Xia Kiki, dressed in a purple dress, stood outside. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, and she continuously tiptoed as she peered into the room. Creak! The wooden door slowly opened, and Yi Zichen welcomed Xia Kiki in with a smile. Why aren't you resting yet? I knew you weren't asleep. Xia Kiki squeezed through the crack in the door with a giggle. Xia Kiki giggled as she squeezed through the crack in the door. She paced around the room a few times like a fairy, then sat down on the wooden bed with her brows slightly furrowed. Your bed is so hard. As she spoke, her little hands kept turning over the bedding on the bed, her face full of disgust. Do you think this is the modern realm? What good conditions can there be? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in annoyance, then walked over to the chair in front of the window and sat down. He raised his eyebrows as he looked at Xia Kiki, who was pouting on the bed. He suddenly recalled what the old dragon god had said to him. This is for you. Yi Zichen took the ring off his finger. Yi Zichen was rather surprised that he was able to take it off effortlessly. It was as if the ring had grown out of his finger. It seems like the old dragon god really doesn't want to follow me anymore. What? Xia Kiki looked up and saw that the bone ring was already on her hand. She stared wide-eyed at the ring on her finger, then at Yi Zichen in astonishment. Dragon god ring? Uh-huh. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then looked at the ring longingly. It could be said that the old dragon god had helped him a lot on his path of cultivation. The dragon race's secret body tempering manual and the strange time flow space. Yi Zichen, who didn't have much talent, was able to catch up and even surpass the geniuses of the immortal region's younger generation at the fastest speed possible. It could be said that most of it was due to the old dragon god. The old dragon god said that he wants to return to the dragon race. Put it in the ancestral hall, or give it to your clan head when you return to the beast region. Okay, Xia Kiki might have declined if it was any other treasure, but this was the dragon god ring. The person inside was the founding ancestor of the dragon race. She definitely didn't dare to push it around like it was an object. Xia Kiki carefully put on her finger, then looked at Yi Zichen with pursed lips. Brother Zichen, you've become so strange. Why do you say that? Yi Zichen shrugged in confusion. Xia Kiki rolled her eyes, then pointed at her lips and pursed her lips. The Zichen Ji I know is always smiling. No matter what, he always gives people a very relaxed feeling. But this time, when I followed everyone to look for you, I found that you were in a particularly low mood. Really? Yi Zichen intentionally put on a relaxed expression and shrugged with a smile. Haven't I been laughing the whole time? How is it low? Yes, I can feel it. Xia Kiki bit her lip, got up from the bed, and walked over. She placed her finger between Yi Zichen's eyebrows. You've been curled up and uncurled since I arrived. Also, when I came, the atmosphere was really oppressive. Susu and I were very worried about you. We were supposed to come together, but she didn't want to disturb you, so she didn't come. Yi Zichen smiled wryly apologetically as he listened to Xia Kiki's explanation. He reached out and grabbed Xia Kik's hand, then caressed her hair with his fingers. Sorry, I made you guys worry. Don't always say sorry, all right? You're the leader of the entire alliance right now. Your every word and action will determine the future of the alliance. To put it more selfishly, there's no need for you to shoulder everything. You're just an ignorant, money-loving citizen of the modern realm. Just when did you start to actually think of yourself as the savior of the world? Don't be so selfless. Don't be so righteous. Live for yourself. If you can handle it, then do it. If you can't, then just quit. Even if the sky falls, there will naturally be someone taller to hold it up. There are so many important people in the three realms. Why is someone like you, who has lived for less than a fraction of their lives, going up? You might as well learn from the ancient Chow Chow. It's fine to have the heart of a hero, but don't be too selfless. Live for yourself. Then you'll be more relaxed than anyone else. Yi Zichen's heart warmed when he heard Xia Kik's words of comfort, especially when he saw Xia Kiki acting like a little adult and pointing out things. Yi Zichen suddenly felt like, so weird. Who taught you that? Oh, I already said that I would definitely find out. Xia Kiki stuck out her tongue and scratched her head with a silly smile. Susu told me to say it. Su Yin, she didn't want to disturb you and was afraid that you would put too much pressure on yourself. She just told me that if I came, I would say it to you. You don't know, but I recited it 10 odd times in front of her. She only let me go after confirming that there were no mistakes. Xia Kik's face scrunched up pitifully as she muttered. I didn't even take language lessons so seriously in elementary school. Susu is so mean. Even though Yi Zichen had a myriad of emotions weighing down on him, he couldn't help but laugh when he saw Xia Kik's pitiful look. Hee hee, you're finally smiling. That's right. You must smile more often. You always look like an old man. It's so ugly. Xia Kiki blinked and wrinkled her nose. Well, my job is done, so I'll go back. Or should I stay with you for the night? As she said that, Xia Kiki fiddled with the corner of her clothes. Yi Zichen reached out his hand and smacked her head, then scolded her with a smile. What nonsense are you thinking? Hurry up and go back to sleep. Who's small? I'm older than Lulu. As she said that, she purposely puffed out her extremely large asterisk cough 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 asterisk. Seeing that Yi Zichen was determined not to ask her to stay the night, Xia Kiki didn't insist. She was a lady. How could she shamelessly ask to stay the night? When she left the room with a pout, Yi Zichen took a deep breath and sighed as he watched her leave. I made them worry, Sister Xiang. Tisk, Tiske, Tsk. This little guy is quite lucky with women. Xinyuan Xiang, who had turned into her physical form, raised her eyebrows as she held the melon seeds in her hand. From the looks of it, that little girl did pretty well to console you. What? Why did you call Laonyang out? Could it be that the little girl's interest in staying the night was piqued by you? So Laonyang wants Laonyang to stay the night with you? Stop dreaming. Laonyang is a chaste person. Stop your wishful thinking, okay? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes at her in annoyance. I called you out to discuss that with you. Hearing that, Xinyuan Xiang also placed all of the melon seeds in her hand onto the table with a serious expression. You thought it through? Yes. Chapter 709. Set out within the subdimension. Yi Zichen stood proudly in front of the group in a black robe. It was said that confident men were the most attractive to women. Su Yin and Kik's gazes were enough to tell that it was true. This trip is going to be filled with danger. I wonder. Halfway through his sentence, Yi Zichen glanced at the people behind him. Only the top fighting forces of the three realms could appear here. Oxhead, Horseface, and the heavenly courts god of thunder had all been called over through his social media. It's time to fight to the death. The demon realm's envoy was about to arrive. The strength of a half-step sage would make anyone feel like there was a huge gap between them. Yi Zichen decided to clean up the demon realm before the demon realm's emissary appeared. I, Old Sun, have been pissed off by the scum of the demon realm for a long time. They actually dared to attack Old Sun's Mount Huagua. I'm so pissed off. Great Sage Sun, who was wearing the Monkey King's armor and holding the Rui Jingu Bang, cursed. Bro, don't worry. I, Old Sun, will destroy their base for you. Don't look at me. I still don't have a good impression of you. Su Luer maintained her cold expression. I'm merely doing this for my lil sis' sake. If it wasn't for her begging me for the entire night, do you think I would have come help you? Sis, Suyin bit her lips and grabbed Su Lu'er's sleeves. She knew very well that Yi Zichen was already under a lot of pressure, and she didn't want her to add to his burden. I really don't know what's so good about him. Su Lu'er rolled her eyes helplessly. All right, I'll definitely help him. The great sage, and I will attack the cities north of Maple City. No problem. Hearing that, Su Yin smiled. She was very happy to be able to help Yi Zichen. But, for some reason, Yi Zichen recalled the scenes in his memories. I owe her way too much. The underworld will attack the south of Maple City, Xia. Bayan raised his eyebrows. The heavenly court will attack the west of Maple City, God of Thunder said seriously. Then the immortal region will attack the east of Maple City. It's actually quite advantageous, since the east has the least number of cities. Great Emperor Qingming smiled. Great Emperor Qingming smiled faintly. After more than half a year of recuperation, his injuries had completely recovered. It could be said that this was a blessing in disguise. His injury actually allowed his cultivation, which had been stagnant for a long time, to make some progress. All of you can help, but I can't. Xiaokiki mumbled on the side with a long face. The elder who came with her immediately rushed back to the clan after receiving the dragon god ring. This could be said to be a huge matter for their dragon clan, so he did not dare to delay in the slightest. We'll be fine, Xiaobai giggled. At this time, Xiaobai had already grown into an elegant young man. With his talent, he was definitely loved by the big sister. All of a sudden, the atmosphere became very relaxed. Yi Zichen understood very well that they wanted to use this method to make him feel less nervous. The devil world was definitely not a paper tiger. The millions of soldiers pressing down on the border was not a trick used by Zhuge Liang. That was a fact that really existed. Although Yi Zichen didn't want to ruin the atmosphere, he couldn't help but remind them. It's okay to relax here, but don't be sloppy when you really act. When the time comes, I'll attract the elites of the devil world, and you guys act according to the situation. Understood. Yi Zichen nodded towards the surrounding people, then looked towards Su Yin. Su Yin gripped her clothes and silently worried about him. In fact, she was rather annoyed at herself for not being able to share some of his burden with her current strength. She felt like the only thing she could do right now was not to cause trouble for him. Thus, no matter how worried she was for Yi Zichen, no matter how much she wanted to say, she could only bury it in her heart and silently pray for him. Before he left, Yi Zichen couldn't help but walk over to Su Yan's side and pull her into his arms. Su Lu'er frowned, but when she thought about what the white-robed man had said to her, she endured it and did not say anything. You have to be careful. Su Yan's eyes instantly teared up the moment she hugged him. She trembled as she comforted him, while her eyes were filled with his shadow. She had waited for this hug for far too long, and it had finally come. I'll be back. Wait for me. Yi Zichen kissed Su Yan's forehead softly, then returned to his senses with a determined look in his eyes. If it was any other time, Kiki would definitely let Yi Zichen kiss her as well. However, she didn't this time. Although she liked to mess around, she knew better than anyone else in her heart. Yi Zichen's words weren't just for Su Yin to hear, but also for himself. Just how dangerous is my decision? This sentence was his will to live. Let's go. Xin Yuan Xiang, who had taken physical form, Fatty Yin, who was holding the 8-formation origin chart, and the Flame Emperor. They were Yi Zichen's final team. His team wasn't there to attack cities, they were there to make the ley line appear in the heavenly court. Didn't you say that we shouldn't work together? Why did you come to find me again? The Jade Emperor sat lazily on the chair and looked at the black figure beside him. We've been getting closer recently. Don't forget that the heavenly court and the underworld are enemies. Do you think I want to talk to you? Great sacred emperor equaling heaven's cursed. I came to find you for the ley line. Ley line? The Jade Emperor twitched his mouth, but he quickly realized what was going on. He straightened his back and exclaimed with a fiery gaze. What did you just say? The ley line? Aren't you pretty good at acting? I thought you could pretend to be very calm. The great sacred emperor equaling heavens twitched his mouth in disdain. The great sacred emperor equaling heavens pursed his lips in disdain. The Jade Emperor wasn't annoyed by this. The ley line was very important to him, so there was no need for him to take advantage of it. What's going on with the ley line? Tell me. He has already set off to search for the dragon vein. In less than 6 hours, the dragon vein will definitely appear. Then, I'm here to tell you that the people from the demon world will definitely be eyeing the dragon's vein. When the time comes, it's very likely that they'll snatch the dragon's vein for themselves. It's very difficult for them to fight against the demons with their current strength. What's your decision? The great sacred emperor equaling heavens stared at the Jade Emperor with bright eyes. The Jade Emperor fell silent. He really hated decisions like this. He hated it the most, especially when he had to make a decision, when he had to consider the pros and cons. But this time, it concerned the ley line. The ley line was the lifeline of the 3 realms. Don't forget what you've been waiting for the past 10,000 years. Just as the Jade Emperor was hesitating, the great sacred emperor equaling heaven's next sentence shocked the Jade Emperor. He narrowed his eyes and gritted his teeth. Chapter 710. The Demon Realms, Actions, Maple City. The heavens were always fair. Since it had given the demon race a strong physique, it would naturally take something from them. They had natural flaws in the design and layout of the city. Thus, even though half a year had passed, Maple City still maintained its original appearance. The city was heavily guarded. Black Dragon knew very well that even though it was a truce for the past half a year, he couldn't relax at all. He believed that the people of the 3 realms still viewed him as a thorn in their side. Who knew when they would send him a huge gift? As for why he didn't send out his troops, it was because he was waiting for Chiu Hai to bring the demon envoy. Once the demon envoy arrived, it would be the day of the 3 realms' destruction. Sir, a demon scout disguised as a normal person appeared in the courtyard. Black Dragon, who was drinking tea, turned around and saw the scout take out a jade scroll and hand it to him. The scout poured spiritual energy into the jade scroll, and the information obtained by the scout was projected. The reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor and the Flame Emperor. Why did they come out? Black Dragon asked the scout with a frown after reading the contents of the jade scroll. Are there any other clues? No. The scout replied with his head lowered. After they came out, they went straight towards the Valley of Death. They seemed to be in a hurry. As for what they were going to do, I have no idea. The Valley of Death? Why did they go there? Could it be? Suddenly, Black Dragon's heart began to race. At the same time, Great Emperor Yonghe appeared in the courtyard. When he saw the scout, he raised an eyebrow and immediately spoke. You know everything? What are you referring to? Black Dragon said absent-mindedly. If there's nothing important, then don't talk about it. I need to think about something. I came here to tell you some news. Speak. Black Dragon didn't seem to mind too much. His mind was filled with thoughts. If it was really as he thought, then he shouldn't be sitting here right now. Zhao Zizhao said that the 3 realms are planning to expel the demons out of the 3 realms. With just them, the corners of Black Dragon's mouth curled up in disdain. I have millions of troops under me, and I control all the cities in the outer regions. It's impossible for them to be strong. Black Dragon wasn't being arrogant. He knew very well how strong the Devil Realm soldiers under him were. The physique of the Fiend race was much stronger than that of the people of the 3 realms. At most, they would be able to fight evenly with the Fiend race in terms of high-end combat power. But when it came to the confrontation of Earth Immortals and Human Immortals, the Fiend world was much stronger than them. What's more, the 3 realms had always been at odds with each other on the surface. He knew this very well. He wasn't afraid of the 3 realms attacking. He was only afraid that they wouldn't. The people of the Devil Realm were not particularly good at farming. The stock in each city was limited. Every day they ate was 1 day less. If the 3 realms were to engage in a protracted war with them, he would really be a little afraid. Of course, Yonghe nodded. The longer he lived with the demons, the more he felt that it wasn't nonsense for the demons to want to rule the 3 realms. He could be said to be at the peak of strength in the immortal region, but in terms of physique, he couldn't even compare to the worldly, immortal-level demon soldiers. Moreover, the relationship between the 3 realms was extremely tense, not to mention the stubborn old fogies of the immortal region. The Jade Emperor of the Heavenly Court and the Great Sacred Emperor, equaling heaven of the underworld, were both ambitious people. Little did they know, when the war began, what kind of conditions would they state for their own interests, especially the Jade Emperor. He might even stab his allies in the back during the battle. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about the news below. Great Emperor Yonghe squinted his eyes. It seems that the Yellow Emperor has decided to find the ley line. Black Dragon's first reaction upon hearing this news was to be dumbfounded. Then ecstasy, excitement. Finally, he calmed down. The ley line? Is the Yellow Emperor going to find the ley line? Yes. Great Emperor Yonghe smiled and nodded. I don't know what news he received, but Zhao Zizhao said that the Yellow Emperor has been under a lot of pressure recently. He wants to try his best, so he decided to find a ley line. I heard that the God Realm's envoy came to the lower realms for the divine artifact Xianyuan sword. Of course, he's under a lot of pressure. Although Black Dragon hadn't stepped out of the Maple City Lord's Manor for the past half a year, he knew more about the three realms than anyone else. With these words, Black Dragon's heart sank, and he sat down on his chair. This was his chance. The moment he swallowed the tea, a thought appeared in his mind. Being a commander in the demon realm of the lower three realms was naturally a good life, but he wasn't willing to stay here forever, just like the Jade Emperor. After staying in the lower three realms for so long, they wanted to go up and take a look. They wanted to know what kind of life was like up there. The hiding of the ley line had always restricted their cultivation, but now that the Yellow Emperor wanted to find it, there was no reason for him to hesitate. He had to take this chance and snatch the ley line. Otherwise, he wouldn't have a chance if the Jade Emperor and the others made their move. Beep, beep, beep. At that moment, a sound came from the Jade Scroll in his bosom. The corners of Black Dragon's lips curled upwards as he took out the Jade Slip. You sure came at the right time. The Jade Scroll was a sub-scroll left behind by Qiu Hai. As for what the droplets represented, the envoy was about to arrive. Creak! Black Dragon clenched his fist tightly, while his eyes shone with a bright light. Go, call all the demon-level people to the meeting hall. Tell them that I have something to say to them. Yi Zichen, who was dressed in black robes, sat on a boulder at the bottom of the valley. When he returned to the bottom of the valley once again, he was very surprised. The eye of the wind at the top of the cliff had disappeared. Only Fatty Yin was left of the people who had come out with him. This place is pretty good. Fatty Yin nodded with a smile. Yi Zichen's eyes were filled with a strange light whenever he looked at him. I don't think I've seen Fatty Yin's true body yet. Fatty Yin has always been standing in front of me as Fatty Yin. Of course, that's good. If Fatty Yin really did change, then Yi Zichen wouldn't be able to get used to it. Then just stay here forever. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. At the same time, Lori skipped over and hugged Yi Zichen's arm intimately. Have you talked to your playmates? I told them to go hide somewhere else. What do you need me to do now? Lori was still as clear as a sheet of paper. Yi Zichen caressed her hair and shook his head with a smile. No need. You just need to stay here and beat up the bad guys later. But don't beat them too hard. You have to let them escape. Okay? Okay. Lori nodded with a giggle. Lori nodded with a giggle. Yi Zichen also nodded towards Fatty Yin. Chapter 711. The ley line has appeared. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sound of wind being torn apart sounded out in the sky. Black Dragon, along with Yonghe and the other high-level combatants, looked down at the misty valley. According to the messenger, there were at least 5 people following the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation, Yi Zichen. They were all top-tier experts of the immortal region. Black Dragon did not want to let the ley line slip away in front of him just because of a fluke. He had basically sent out all the demon experts for this operation. He didn't care what happened to the cities. As long as the demon realm's envoy arrived, not to mention the cities, even the entire 3 realms would be his. The Valley of Death. This is the place, right? Black Dragon, who was standing in the sky, frowned slightly. Even with his strength, he couldn't see what was beneath the mist in the valley. This is indeed the Valley of Death. Great Emperor Yonghe nodded. As one of the upper echelons of the immortal region, Great Emperor Yonghe nodded with certainty. This place was known as one of the three most dangerous places in the outer regions of the immortal region. Countless people fell into the canyon, and no matter how strong they were unable to escape. It was impossible for him to be wrong about such a famous place. However, the people of the sacred land of the immortal region all knew the pattern of the opening of the Eye of the Wind. To them, the valley was not that dangerous. However, he had never imagined that the Yellow Emperor would hide the ley line in this place. He had thought that the ley line would hide him in some nameless, insignificant place. So the most dangerous place is the safest place indeed. The Yellow Emperor was truly cunning to hide it for 10,000 years. Of course, the fact that great Emperor Yonghe knew about the Valley of Death did not mean that the demons knew as well. Thus, he gave an explanation. The Valley of Death is one of the three forbidden grounds of the immortal region. It is almost as dangerous as the Howling Valley. The main danger of the valley lies in the Eye of the Wind. As long as one knows the opening and closing time of the Eye of the Wind, it will be much less dangerous. There are many spiritual herbs in the valley. Most of them are sentient and will attack people. It's actually here, Black Dragon nodded. Black Dragon nodded. He had heard from Guli that Xiuhai had come here several times to capture the herb man, but he never succeeded. He could not tell what was special about the valley, but there were large amounts of spiritual herbs here. This further verified the accuracy and authenticity of the dragon vein being here. How do I get to the bottom of the valley? Although he had stayed in the immortal region for half a year, it was better to ask great Emperor Yonghe about his familiarity with the immortal region. If there's fog above the canyon, it means that the eye of the storm is opening. If we go down now, it might cause our spiritual power to become chaotic. What we need to do is wait here until the fog dissipates. Wait. Black Dragon furrowed his brows. How could he possibly have the time to wait under such circumstances? The Yellow Emperor and the others had already gone to retrieve the ley line. Were they really going to wait up there? Don't worry, Lord Black Dragon. Judging from the density of the mist, it should dissipate in less than 2 hours. Although the Yellow Emperor and the others have already set off to retrieve the ley line, you should know that it's not that easy to obtain. Once the fog dissipates, we'll catch them off guard and wait for them to tire themselves out. Isn't that great? The fat great Emperor, Yonghe, smiled cunningly. He had personally witnessed the scene of the Yellow Emperor almost collapsing in order to control the ley line. The dragon vein was the spirit of all creatures, and it didn't belong to anyone. It only obeyed the master of the laws. All right, then we'll wait for another 2 hours. Black Dragon took a deep breath and nodded after a long hesitation. At the bottom of the valley, Yi Zichen ate sunflower seeds leisurely, while Lori, who was beside him, tossed jelly beans in her mouth one by one. The one who suffered the most was Fatty Yin. Since he had the 8 formation origin chart, he had to continuously set up spiritual formations in the valley. It had already been close to 2 hours, but he still hadn't gotten a chance to rest. Why aren't the demons coming down yet? Yi Zichen, who was sitting on a huge rock, jumped down and squinted his eyes at the misty mountain peak. Fatty, you set up this maze formation. Can you see what's going on outside? Fatty Yin, who was setting up the spiritual formation, wiped away the sweat on his forehead, then squinted his eyes and looked up. They're here. There are quite a lot of people here, but they seem to be waiting for something. They haven't come down yet. Waiting? Yi Zichen, who held the sunflower seeds in his hand, curled his lips and smiled sinisterly. Wait for the ley line to come out. Then I'll make a ley line appear for them. Pay attention. Transform. That also meant that there was no ley line here. Brother Yellow Emperor, the coordinates you gave are too vague. I've pretty much scouted this place, but I still haven't seen the ley line. The white-robed Flame Emperor looked around with a frown. The white-robed Flame Emperor looked around with a frown. Yes, the Flame Emperor who came out with Yi Zichen. He's here to find a real ley line. At that moment, a golden light flashed in front of him. Flame Emperor, who was retorting, stopped. His eyes instantly lit up with passion as he looked at the golden light, then shook his head. The Great secluded himself from the world. The Great secluded himself from the world. Brother Yellow Emperor, you win. Black Dragon would never imagine that the ley line was right outside the gates of Maple City. After confirming that the ley line was there, Flame Emperor took out an exquisite phone and sent a message in the group. Let's do it. At the same time, everyone who had been waiting outside the cities in the outer regions of the Immortal region received the message. When they saw the content on the screen, their expressions turned sharp as they shouted at the people behind them. Attack the city. This guy isn't coming down until he sees the ley line, right? Yi Zichen pursed his lips with a smile, then saw the message Flame Emperor sent in the group. It seems like he already found the real ley line. I can't let this drag on any longer. Those guys have never seen the ley line's true appearance. Since that's the case, boom. Raging spiritual energy radiated from his surroundings, while the faint silhouette of an azure dragon coiled around his body. Accompanied by the influx of spiritual power, a resonant dragon roar came from the azure dragon. Roar, sire. When the roar of the azure dragon reached the ears of Black Dragon and the others, the bald demon sovereign immediately stepped forward. I heard it. Black Dragon clenched his teeth. This is definitely the ley line. It's definitely the ley line. Yonghe, just how much longer until the mist disperses? At that moment, Black Dragon's breathing had already become a bit hurried. Before Yonghe could reply, an even louder roar sounded out, along with a beam of golden light that shot into the sky. This is definitely the ley line. I can't let it slip away from my hands.